helm of making India a global manufacturing hub.
For 120 years, Phdcci has been the trusted voice of Indian trade.
The Indian businesses, and most importantly, Phdcci is crucible of
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry and welcome to this conference on AI-powered assistive technology for Divyanjan Empowerment. May I request the distinguished speakers of the inaugural session to kindly come on the dais. We have with us Srimati Manmeet Kaur Nandaji, IAS, Additional Secretary, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. May I request ma'am to kindly come on the dais, please. Dr. Subir Chaturvedi, the Chair for AI and Innovation Committee at Phdcci. Ma'am, please come on the dais. We have with us Dr. Suraj Singh, Department of Community Ophthalmology, Dr. R.P. Center at AIMS. And we have with us Mr. S.K. Tripathi, sir. Sir, kindly come on the dais from LIMCO, please. So before we officially start this program, may I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem, please. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again and good morning. On behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry, I welcome all of you to this conference on AI-powered assistive technology for Divyanjan Empowerment. And we are discussing the theme, Accelerating Viksit Bharat through Inclusive Innovation. So, on behalf of Phdcci, ma'am, I welcome you, Nanda ma'am, for gracing this occasion, and despite your busy schedule, you are able to make up the time for this pertinent event. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, like at Chamber, we have a very important committee by the name of AI and Innovation Committee, wherein we spearhead some of very, very inclusive, some of very, very diverse projects, which actually gave a larger participation from all the stakeholders. So, in fact, in our last discussion with Dr. Subi, we had like, let's do something for the persons with disabilities also. And since there's a lot of traction by not only government, but even by the private place also for empowering PWDs, therefore we decided to actually host this very, very important conference. And today is the day that we curated this program. So, at Chamber, we in fact believe that a truly developed India will not be measured by GDP numbers, it will not be measured by the tech prowess, it will not be measured by the demographic dividend. In fact, it will be measured that when every citizen, irrespective of their ability or disability, irrespective of their status or their class, they need to have the access to tools, they need to have the dignity and opportunity to participate fully in the nation's growth. Therefore, we are here today, everybody is here under this roof, wherein we have people from the academia, from the industry, we have many CSR heads also, we have people from R&D labs also, we have people from many government organizations also, and above all, we have the regulators. And as we know that right now, our nation stands at a very, very defining point. As we know that our digital economy is the world's fastest growing. Our startup ecosystem has become very dynamic of late. We have close to more than 1.5 lakh registered DPIIT registered startups, and our technology talent is globally now most sought after. But at the same time, we feel that there is some section of our population, particularly Divyanjans, they are somewhat, they need to have more enabling ecosystem so that they become the part of the mainstream, not only the society, but for the nation's economy also. And if we see the census of India, right now we have only the 2011 data. It says that nearly there are 2.68 crore population who have some form of disability in India, and nearly 70% of them live in rural areas, and they have less access to healthcare, education, and economic opportunity. At the same time, if we see the WHO report, it places that there are close to 1.3 billion people, or around roughly 16% of the humanity, who have some sort of significant disability. So these numbers are not just statistics. Each number actually represents a person who has ambition, who has the capability, at the same time a right to lead a full life. So if we see ILO, when we talk of the industry in terms of the employment, the ILO report says that only 3 in 10 persons with disabilities are active in labor market globally. So there's a huge economic cost for this exclusion, and this is not only borne by the Divyanjan, but it is borne by the nation, who cannot afford to lose this very, very competitive cost. At the same time, there is also a lot of opportunity, particularly when we talk of assistive technology, for creating a very, very enabling ecosystem for PWDs. If we see the global assistive technology market, it states that there are close to, it's a USD 33 billion market, it was in 2024, and by 2030, it is projected that it may reach somewhere close to USD 70 billion industry. So there are a lot of business opportunities also, and a lot of work for the startups to do. And as we know that technology gives access to persons with disability, we have Elimco with us, who are doing excellent work in terms of providing some of the best the tools, the technologies, as well as equipments, so that these section of people can be actually, they can join the mainstream. There are a lot of, with AI we can actually create a lot of AI enabled prostheses that can actually respond to neural signals, which is again very important. We can have smart hearing aids that can filter ambient noise in real time. We can have some navigation tools using AI that can guide persons with mobility challenges through unfamiliar streets. At the same time, we can have voice enabled multilingual interfaces that bring digital services to those who cannot read or type, and we can also have the cognitive support tools for persons with intellectual disabilities. In fact, in our technical section, we have the experts from former DRDO scientist also, who has developed a lot of cognitive tools, particularly for PWDs. We will be having the chance to listen to him also. We have with us Dr. Sushil Chandra. And at the chamber, we believe that this inclusion is not a philanthropy, it's not a charity. It is basically nation building, it is productivity, it is economic participation, and increasingly it is also, it has a competitive advantage. So we, in fact, in many of the forums in the industry, whenever we do some programs related to mainstreaming the marginalized, we always in fact give a clarion call that industry should lead through innovation, through manufacturing, investment, as well as inclusive procurement. We also give a lot of evangelization in terms of CSR, to CSR heads also, that some of the CSR funds can be channelized towards assistive technology deployments, particularly in undeserved communities. And in fact, we also have a startup wing here in PhD chamber, wherein we always appeal to startups, and many of them are already working in this domain, so that they can make incubation centers wherein the Divyanjans can be the co-creators at the table, not as just as the recipients, but as the designers. So we do not want to this conference just for doing something for good intentions. This is very timely. We want that there should be beginning of some concrete partnerships, some agreements should be made. There can be some funded pilots projects for startups also, there can be some policy commitments so that we are able to make the scalable solutions which are affordable, which has that competitive advantage in terms of the quality. And as we move towards Viksit Bharat 2047, which is the dream in every, at the heart of every Indian, so we have to ensure that the technology does not create new divides, but becomes the bridge that connects every citizen to opportunity, dignity, and growth. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your time. And now we have the subject matter experts. I just gave a sort of a macro sort of the view for this conference. We have with us Professor Dr. Suraj Singh Senjamji from Department of Community Ophthalmology, Dr. R.P. Center for Ophthalmic Sciences, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Sir, I will request you to kindly come and share your address with the august audience, please. Over to you.
Thank you. Our Additional Secretary, ma'am, Manmeet and my friend Jatinder ji, and Shubhi and Tripathi, and my colleague and friends. In fact, that when you say the assistive technology, so how the assistive technology all of a sudden becomes so popular in India and global context. In 2014, the GATE started, GATE initiative started by WHO, and then after that, 2017 onwards, India becomes leading, I would say, the leading, country to work in assistive technology. So for us, this time has come to think about that how assistive technology will support the country who needs the person, the individual, the beneficiary who live in India. As Dr. Jatinder highlight that in India, so there are so many people who have some kind of functional problems, some sort of disability. They need assistive device and assistive product to improve, to enhance and their daily living activities and also the instrumental daily living activities. So in assistive technology, when you say it's a very, very broad term, there's an umbrella term. So you have startup, you have industry, you have a manufacturer, you have that warehousing distributor, you have hospital, you have so many NGOs. So there's urgent need to work together, connection among those, because it cannot be work isolated. It cannot be isolated, assistive technology, because only the hospital setup, only the NGO sector, only the private sectors cannot be, accomplish what we expect. So what we expect, what assistive technology is supposed to, after using assistive technology is supposed to achieve. So there's an urgent need, to work together and, some kind of, connection, networking among the government as well as the private sectors and the NGO sectors. Because in the government also there are so many ministerial divisions, Ministry of Health and MEMS, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. There has to be some connection. Otherwise, the need, those who, those people who need assistive device living in the remote area, underprivileged society, community, so they won't be able to get access to assistive devices. So we always say affordable, accessible. So the affordable means India needs to think about this Make in India campaigns. So what sort of cost-effective and low-cost assistive device can be produced? For example, in eye health sectors, we have a simple dome magnifier. The dome magnifier in India so far, we import from the outside, from the Hong Kong. So dome is a simple magnifier, which is, it costs around 2,500. So we are importing from the outside, from the Hong Kong. So that means the country needs some kind of connection. What is the requirement of assistive technology? What sort of person living in the country? Those who need assistive devices. So so with this, this PhD chambers very much align with the AI for Viksit Bharat. जो अभी इंडिया में जो कंट्री में जो अभी इनिशिएटिव हो रही है, that's AI for Viksit Bharat. So I'm very much thankful to invite me to talk on this occasion. So because this very much aligned with assistive technology and AI, what is happening in AI, the topic itself is very important to me. So with this, I will wind up. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suraj. In fact, we'd like to have your slides also in the next technical session, because you have got PPT also. We have with us Shri S.K. Tripathi ji, Deputy General Manager from Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India. I'll request Tripathi sir to kindly come and share his experience with the audience.
Good morning, everybody. Firstly, I would like to welcome respected Manmeet Madam from the Department DPWD, Ministry of Social Justice, and this distinguished guest on the dais is representative from industry, startups, and academia. From Alimco, I would like to welcome all. Just I would like to brief that Alimco has manufacturing and providing assistive devices to the Divyanjan and senior citizen. And since during the last 11 years, we have provided the assistive technologies to more than 3.5 million persons across the country, Divyanjan and senior citizens, under the government schemes, under the CSR funded programs with the corporates. And we have a large manufacturing facility at, we have main manufacturing facility at headquarter Kanpur, UP, and other than that, regional manufacturing centers across the country, and also the regional marketing centers. And recently, under the guidance and support of ministry, we have opened Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Vayoshri Kendra in the country, and more than 100 centers are operational and providing assistive technology near to the doorstep of the beneficiaries. So we are providing assistive devices for locomotor disability, visual disability, intellectual disability, and all these kinds of disabilities we are serving and providing the appropriate solutions to them. Now I would like to just brief you that Alimco has now moved up from a conventional device provider to the smart assistive technology provider, from manual systems to AI-enabled operations in our facilities, and from welfare-driven organization to the empowerment-driven innovation providers. So just regarding the modernization and this transformation of the Alimco, I would like to just request you to just see a 2-minute documentary, so you will get an idea about the new Alimco and what presently we are having facilities and what solutions we are providing. Just 2-minute documentary I would like to request to please play.
(1972), a year when a spark of transformation was ignited, one that dispelled the darkness from the lives of persons with disabilities. This rising ray of hope in the world of despair was named the Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India, Alimco. 5 decades ago, this initiative began with the vision of empowering persons with disabilities in the country. Today, under the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, this movement not only provides world-class ISO-certified assistive devices and artificial limbs to persons with disabilities across India, but also creates meaningful employment opportunities for them. In the past 11 years, while working under the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Government of India, Alimco has provided assistive devices to more than 27 lakh persons with disabilities and senior citizens across the nation, extending the benefits of the ADIP Rashtriya Vayoshri Yojana scheme of Government of India. By active participation in organizing the Samajik Adhikarita Shivers initiated by the Government of India, the corporation has brought glory to the nation on the global stage, setting new benchmarks of achievement and earning its name in 9 Guinness World Records. Meeting the growing demand was a challenge. Outdated equipment and limited resources stood in the way, and there was only one way forward: transformation. To keep pace with assistive technology in the global landscapes, there arose a pressing need for the modernization and expansion of Alimco. And thus began a new era. To enhance its technological capabilities, the corporation entered into technology collaborations with globally renowned organizations. With the introduction of computerized robotic machines and the expansion of its services, Alimco achieved in just 9 years what had not been possible in the previous 40 years. In the new Alimco, ready for a new India, the upgradation, restructuring, and modernization of structural resources have enhanced both the quality and scale of production, making it easier to meet the growing demand. Equipped with a rooftop solar power plant and a water harvesting system, The eco-friendly infrastructure beautifully integrates sustainability with the functional and aesthetic needs of the corporation's campus to ensure that the beneficiaries across all states of India continue to receive the benefits of government schemes for artificial limbs and assistive devices without interruption. Alimco is now expanding its service network. Now, assistive devices will be made available through the Alimco's Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Kendras in all 36 states and union territories. Marching ahead on the path of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, Alimco is also actively working on plans to export its indigenously manufactured assistive devices to other countries. Under the guidance of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, the Mini Ratna Alimco is moving forward towards its goal of inclusion for all with renewed direction and energy.
Thank you, everybody. With these words, I would just like to brief you that under the support of Manvit Madam and the Ministry, we are continuously growing up and inviting the startups to have latest technology. We have good R&D facilities. So presently in this program, I would like to invite and all startups and research institutions as well as the CSR heads also to join hands with Alimco to provide solutions, appropriate solutions to the needy Divyanjan and just including them in the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tripathi, for giving the overview of Alimco and the excellent work Alimco is doing in terms of mainstreaming the person with disabilities. This is really, really excellent work, the service to the humanity that Alimco is doing. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Subhi Chaturvedi, the Chair for AI and Innovation Committee at Phdcci Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She is also the Global Senior Vice President and Chief Corporate Affairs and Public Policy Officer at InMobi Group. Over to you, Dr. Subhi.
Good morning, everybody. Jatinder ji, thank you so much first for putting this together. आप सबको इस मुहिम में शामिल करने का दिल से बहुत धन्यवाद. My heart is very, very full today. This is an issue that's very close to my heart, to our founder's heart. InMobi एक शुरुआत थी, एक पहल थी जो IIT कानपुर के प्रारूप से निकली. It is India's first unicorn. और हम लोग बहुत शांति से, खामोशी से अपना काम करते हैं. We wanted to make sure that जो मेक इन इंडिया विजन है प्रधानमंत्री जी का, वो एक सक्षम तरीके से स्वरूप ले सके. We are now a double unicorn. 2011 में हम unicorn बने. Naveen Tiwari, our founder, grew up in IIT Kanpur. His grandmother is the first ever woman to be a professor in any IIT. She was the first ever professor of mathematics in IITs. And this is an institution that was very, very well aware, and it was very sensitized, where inclusion was not just a good to have. So now we became a double unicorn. Iske pehle, the mobile phone used to look like this. It was a blank screen. Now each time you press the power button, without having to download any app, it serves content on the lock screen. So अगर हम प्रधानमंत्री जी की मुहिम की बात करें 2014 से, he decided we will have mission mode technology-led interventions so that Gandhiji's principles of Antodaya can become a vision and a reality. Bottom of the pyramid, last mile connectivity, हर एक आखिरी व्यक्ति को भी पंक्ति में हम शुमारियत हो सके उनकी, the growth, the vision and the dream. A couple of years ago, he spoke from the ramparts of the Red Fort and he gave us the Panch Pran. One of the first ones is throwing away the slavery mindset, never forgetting our roots, where we came from. And this is a very, very important day for us because you are talking about people. In India, there are about 26 million people who are accounted for with disabilities. Pradhan Mantri ji ne unko Divyanjan ka shabd diya, जो बहुत ही उपयुक्त है. When I personally interact, InMobi has several projects and interventions. We work with children of special abilities in schools where we're helping them with brain development training. When we met last year with Jatinder ji, he's so passionate and he has such a motivated team. Rajiv ji, who's now the president of the chamber, he made sure that in no time, in literally a discussion of 2 hours, we were able to pull together an AI committee and an innovation committee. We believe AI and innovation have to go together. We have a long history where sometimes we have played catch up to technology, 2G, 3G, 5G, but AI is a great democratizer. So the Prime Minister understands this so well, and I'm so glad that on the dais today we have such accomplished people who are people I have drawn inspiration from. Manmeet ji is someone we have looked up to, not just in her roles, in her present role, but across every single role. She's like the kind of officer one welcomes and has always had an open door. Every discussion that she comes to, she enriches it, she elevates it. Doctor, we met for the first time today, but your empathy is what shines. And Tripathi ji at Alamco, we can't thank you enough for the kind of service you're rendering, because before this, a lot of technologies were always imported. So this is not just an idea whose time has come, it's a call to action. प्रगति की दिशा, दृष्टि, गंतव्य तीनों हमें साथ में मिल के तय करना है. There is no better organization than PhD. There are other chambers who do wonderful work, but this is the organization that brings together across 120 years of its legacy and history, MSMEs, SMEs. What are we talking about? We are not just talking about inclusion, we are talking about creating technologies that serve the largest number of people, not just people with disabilities. This is a core governance frameworks. So W3C नाम की एक इंटरनेशनल संस्था है, उनके 4 फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं जिन्हें हम पोर के नाम से समझते हैं. सो P here stands for perceivable. आपको प्रत्यक्ष रूप से दिखाई देना चाहिए कि टेक्नोलॉजी क्या कर रही है. So when you're designing websites, when you're designing any technologies, interfaces, you should be able to understand what's happening. O stands for operable. It should make sure that it's not meant for a certain technology. It should be technology agnostic. It should be neutral. U stands for understandable. हमें समझ आना चाहिए what the design principles are. R stands for robust. कि कभी आपका दिल करे, it's not a good to have. It is a must have. When you talk about AI, I'm so delighted that we have a government that understands the power of technology. There is no better time when if you have an idea, you will have 5 people who will come in and they will say, let us hold your hand. Whether it's industry, whether it's the India AI mission, which has made sure they have put data at the center of all such conversations. I grew up in Lucknow. Janta, Shamta, Jujharupan, the ability to fight, the ability to look at opportunities is something that we saw every single day. If it were a country, it would be the 5th largest country in the world just by population. When I visit my city, we have had all elected MLAs sit for half a day just to understand what can AI do in agriculture, in MSME, in IoT, in remedial education. Assisted technologies and AI have a huge role to play. If you look at teacher-student ratios, adaptive learning, learning which is customizable, and we are not just talking about prosthetics and limbs. We are saying AI and adaptive technologies, assistive technologies are permeable. They cut across every single role. So our principle is, we are not subject matter experts. There are leaders who are sitting in this room. We are so grateful for all the work that you do. Our job is to become enablers and facilitators, and which is what we are here for today, whether it's our army veterans, whether it is our paratroopers, whether it is people with special abilities who are born into a destiny. When you visit, when you spend time, then you understand that this is again not a choice, it's not an option. We have to make sure technology is truly inclusive, it's not just representative. और ये मैं बहुत जिम्मेदारी से कह रही हूँ, India has the world's 40% AI talent. We have to make sure the STEM talent that exists, again, 40% of all STEM women are in India. But the funnel and the leaky pipe, which is what we say, 18% of them end up in the workforce. So how do we make sure our labs are speaking to each other, our CSR funds are directed at a very specific objective which has a baseline, a before and after, and we are able to create a network of networks. And that is what, as a chamber, as somebody who chairs the AI and Innovation Committee as Phdcci, we are here to do. So we will work with you. We're also doing hackathons. So the first time I met ma'am was on a virtual call, and we were part of the US-India CEO Forum, which is chaired under the leadership of Phdcci. And this is the biggest forum that brings together the top 50 15 leading companies, 15 Fortune 500 companies from US, from 15 from India. We lead the group on inclusive growth, startups and entrepreneurship. ये हमारा धर्म है कि हम technology उन तक पहुंचाएं. So I believe IITs and IIMs are doing a great job. They will take care of themselves. But the Kendriya Vidyalayas, the Nehru Yuva Kendras, the small schools, the Sainik schools, these are the children that, one, sensitization, capacity building, behavior change, and then ensuring that actual technologies, actual equipment is able to reach the people who desire it the most. So those are the kind of problems that we're working on. We are doing an innovation hackathon. We put together a cohort with Tata Sons, MasterCard and InMobi. We put a crore aside and we did a national hackathon where we called out for ideas. What can AI do to solve persistent problems? If you win in India, you will win everywhere in the world. And thank you once again for joining us on a Friday morning. I'm very hopeful, I'm very optimistic that if we decide to come together, there is nothing that 1.4 billion Indians cannot solve for. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Subi, for a very, very motivating and charged speech. And I am sure that your speech has a lot of value, it has a lot of passion that speaks of itself. Thank you very much indeed. And I would like to invite our guest of honor to give the keynote address, Madam Manmeet Kaur Nandaji, IAS, Additional Secretary, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Ma'am, now everybody is in fact waiting to hear the golden words from you. Over to you.
A very good morning to the esteemed panelists, to the distinguished guests, friends from the industry. I'm back to a familiar audience. While I was in DPIIT, these were interactions that I looked forward to. Innovators and ladies and gentlemen. I want to first begin by complimenting the PhD Chamber of Commerce for choosing such a theme. These are not just words, and it's not just important. It is a very fundamental truth that we as a country and an economy need to answer. There is no true Viksit Bharat without an inclusive Bharat. And I think affordable, scalable, and deployable assistive technology powered by AI is the future of this inclusive Viksit Bharat. Having heard Professor Senjim, whose research at AIMS regarding assistive technology and coupling it with rigorous academic work, I think it gives us the importance in which organizations and institutions like AIMS and the IITs have the focus on. And I think that puts the AI world in the right direction. Having listened to my colleague from Elimco and his sharing of the journey of Elimco so far tells us that Elimco, being the only non-profit public sector undertaking in the government of India and for the last so many years, it tells us the direction in which the government is dedicatedly working for the persons with disability population in our country. And of course, Dr. Subi, your speech and your reactions to all the actions that you have taken so far, not just as a part of InMobi, but also as a part of Phdcci, tells us that the industry is so ready for AI, and assistive technology is an answer that is not just for the PWDs or the Divyangjans. It actually is the need for the hour. Many of us have Apple phones, and many of us use features of the Apple phones that were actually thought to be used as assistive techs or accessibility features for persons with disabilities. But many of us probably can't dream of using our phones without them. So that's the power of assistive technology. I would like to move the discussion slightly to an area which I think industry leaders, startups, and innovators need to also understand before we take this step towards the use of AI. We have viewed disability inclusion through a very narrow lens of accessibility, simply by asking, can the user read this text? what Dr. Subi was mentioning about the home page telling us information repeatedly as we open our mobile phones. The question should not be, can the user of any kind of ability/disability see that screen? That should not be how we have to tackle the question. We need to use our minds to say, and when we do these innovations, that it should be available to everybody, irrespective of their ability. I think the two important failure points in any AI deployment is that of interface. Can the visual impaired user read that screen? Is it compatible? Now that question should not be an afterthought. It should be an essential requirement for the developer while he is developing that AI. And the second failure is at the point of intelligence itself. It's about algorithmic fairness. When we test AI solutions and we test new software, we should also test it on persons with disabilities at that stage. If we're testing it on persons with the 100% abilities, we are not really testing that AI feature. So the algorithm should not should include persons with disability to a greater extent for any innovation that you use AI with. So this is something that I would want all innovators and industry to reflect upon as we move towards this important topic of assistive technology. I think India has a strategic advantage regarding AI and AT, and that's why I'm more optimistic from the point of view of the Indian industry itself. Most of the Western nations, because they have been using AI far longer than us, they are now actually retrofitting inclusion into their mature AI systems. But in India, we have a lot of inclusivity stack ready for us to use it. And I think that's why India is probably one of the most natural leaders in the global south in developing AI that truly serves every individual and every citizen. What is this inclusivity stack that I talk about? First is the data layer. AI is good as long as the data that feeds it is good. And like I mentioned, it needs to be inclusive. And we have the AI Kosh. The AI Kosh should be a stack that all innovators and users and developers of AI should use. And we have that algorithm already in the country, and I think all of you should use that. Secondly, we are now following the directions of the Honorable Supreme Court in the judgment of the Rajiv Ratori case that has been very, very ambiguously clear to the point that accessibility is not an afterthought. Accessibility is a fundamental right, as fundamental as the right to live. And there is no discretion that we can even think of. The principle now need to extend that to the algorithmic logic that I keep insisting on, but it also needs to extend in every area of governance. And when I say governance, I mean both public and private sector. In every startup, AI, technology, any kind of intervention, whether it relates to education, health, employment, welfare. So we need to, as an industry and as the government, come together and bring about technological standards that need to be followed in every software and system that we develop. Now let us translate this thought of mine on inclusivity stack into the business language that probably you people are more familiar with, and I have learned many places. I think as a government department and as an ex-joint secretary with the Department of Persons with Industry, DPIIT, under the Ministry of Commerce, the government e-marketplace, the largest public procurement platform in the country, I think we should now forge into procuring IT systems and IT products that have a disability trust mark, That means it should have standards that make it completely inclusive. I think funding is an important requirement for any innovative economy, and with startups and innovators in this room, I think the India AI mission and with the startup seed fund and the funds of funds, and there are many such funds that are run by corporates, like Immobile mentioned the hackathon. There are many corporates who run these funds, and I think funding conditions should also stress upon the use of an inclusive AI mechanism and standard as well. And I think we are positioned globally to be an export market for AI and assistive technology as much as for making for India. We have mentioned 2.68 crores, but let me tell you that is a 2011 figure, and it is highly underrated. There have been many government surveys thereafter, and as per the WHO, about 200 million Indians live in significant disability. And this does not refer to only the Divyanjans that we refer to. It is many of our parents and our aging population. It also refers to many accident population. It also refers to many people who are suffering from temporary disabilities. And 200 million is not a small number in terms of the number of market that we are talking about requiring assistive technology. And it is well known and globally recorded that the assistive technology market has a CGR of about 12%. So I think India has a large area to really focus on to become a global leader in this direction. And I think this opportunity is tailor-made for the Indian MSME, because the solutions that are being looked for are solutions that need not be brought out by big MNCs and companies. The minds and the most productive minds are actually in the startups, in the smaller units, in the MSMEs that we are actually talking to. Because solutions, what are required are intelligent solutions which can be made affordable, adaptable, and produced at scale. And I think that is what the Indian MSME is best suited for. Let me tell you what we are already building. Our national institutes, we have about 9 national institutes under the Department for Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. The NIEPD, the National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Intellectual Disability in Secunderabad, has developed a test of intelligence. It is the first culturally contextualized. Till now, we are using an IQ test that is globally used. We have contextualized it because we have the largest population in the world. So it's an IQ assessment tool for Indian population. And they are now using it and developing it based on AI-enhanced adaptive screening. So it makes it more reliable. And this is something that we need to export to the rest of the world. I think today you would be also hearing many from the startup ecosystem, at least I've read in your talkers lineup. You will hear Hani Bagchantani of Torchit. I do not know whether he's already in the room. Well, they have built Sarathi, which is also an AI and ML-based smart cane for the visually impaired. They have the Jyoti AI smart glasses that use AI and machine learning and OCR to provide a real-time audio feedback on printed text objects. And they are establishing 150 resource centers across the country. And it is a national award-winning company incubated at IIM Ahmedabad. So it is started as an MSME. Tinkerbells, they built Annie. Annie is an AI-powered braille device that adjusts the learning capacity based on the learner's progress. Something brilliant. It was featured at the Shark Tank. You must interact with them as an agency and as an industry organization. It has now content available in 11 regional languages. We have Sign Setu, which is again an AI-powered Indian sign language solution. I mean, there are many. We at our department have also entered into an MOU with the Assistive Technology Foundation of Bangalore. ATF also helps to incubate number of startups in the assistive technology space. So that would be another organization with which PhD should interact very, very actively. They also have a dedicated Startup India Seed Fund of 5 crore rupees to be invested across different startups working in the AT field. I would now like to address the MSMEs in this room. An algorithm does not reach a village. It needs hardware manufactured at scale. And it needs distribution networks and after-sales services to reach to the Tier 2 and the Tier 3 of India. It also needs component supply chains and the last mile delivery. And the AT startup has the algorithm. It needs MSME partners like you to manufacture that device, manage that supply chain, and ensure it works reliably. And like Elimco has mentioned, they are looking in terms of encouraging MSMEs in the field of R&D, looking to partner with many MSMEs. So come forward and see whoever have AT solutions or would require help in bringing it into the prototype that can be manufactured commercially. We will be happy to join hands with all of you. The ADEPS scheme, which basically provides assistive aids to all free of cost, the last man in the mile, as mentioned by Dr. Subhi, and the Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Kendras, which are one-stop solutions. Anybody below the poverty line walks in, gets his assessment done, and is given an aid within 3 to 4 days. Unthinkable of in India, maybe 10 to 12 years before. But now it is very much there. Today we have 102 such centers, and we intend to increase that number to about 300 by the next 3 to 4 years. We are also in the process of establishing something known as the Assistive Tech Marts, which are a retail chain franchise model by Elimco. We are inviting 80 product manufacturers and partners and traders to come with us, join hands with Elimco, and you can be a part of this journey, which helps to showcase, sell a wide variety of assistive technology products. It need not be only Elimco manufactured products. It is products made in India in the AT field. We'll be happy to partner with you, provide you with our brand name, and it would be like the shops that you see or the pharmacy shops that sell a variety of medicines and pharmaceutical products. AT Marts will be selling a variety of AT products, verified by Elimco, of course, produced by various private sector commercial partners, and we intend to open at least 50 to 80 of these marts within this financial year itself. I think we also have a very important help from the other departments of the Government of India. We have Phdcci, which is the National Language Transition Mission, which is again free, it's open source, and it's a speech recognition, text-to-speech machine translation in 22 languages. I urge startups, please use that. The Phdcci Open API means that you can build accessibility products on top of free government infrastructure. And you need not build your own speech recognition engine. The Government of India has already built it for you. So if you haven't used that application, please, I urge you to do that. And I think this conference theme also speaks about making India a global hub for assistive technology. And I think it's just a very logical ambition target. India became the pharmacy of the world for generic medicines, which are now taking products that cost 10 times more in the West, engineering them into realities and producing them at a fraction of a cost. Who thought that we could do it? About 8-9 years ago, it felt like a dream. We also have many Indian MSMEs that are producing AI-powered screening tools and that work brilliantly in many countries in Africa, in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, and Kenya. So I urge you people that you have the capacity in you. And I think I would like to close my remarks by these three asks. I think we as the government and as a part of the government, I request METI, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, and the AI governance community that we need to make mandatory standards in the field of AI so that AI deployment are of a particular standards acceptable both within the country and globally in all AI deployments, whether it's welfare, education, private sector, health, etc. I think that the PhDs should focus its MSMEs in building the purple economy vertical. The purple economy is the market that is ready to be further developed for persons with disabilities and for people and the aging population who are a large number, 200 million I mentioned. They are actually a consumer base. So what you will produce in the field of assistive technology, you have a large consumer base which has still not been served. And this is what you need to look into. And that to every MSME and industry leader in this room, the assistive technology market is not corporate social responsibility. It is not philanthropy. It is a $70 billion global market, growing at a CAGR of 12%. And with standards that METI will make and ensure, and ensuring that the GEM procurement models will procure made in India solutions, and with that democratic certainty, no other sector can match this growth. And the question is not whether this market will be served. It will be. There will be people coming from outside giving the solutions. And that is why I urge you to move ahead. You have that advantage to yourselves. And 2026 is a very important year in the disability movement for this country. It's been 20 years since India signed the UN Conventions for Persons with Disabilities. It has also been 10 years since the RPWD Act came into provision. And I think what we need is with that intent to move into action. So let us not barely build AI for the rest of the world without serving our country. We need to build AI that treats disability as its primary use case. And let's build an AI ecosystem that's not only intelligent, but it is affordable, it's available everywhere, it's scalable. And assistive technology is no more a luxury. It's a necessity. It's the most powerful enabler of this mandate. And I think you, as the MSME, the backbone of this economy, you can take this forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a very, very insightful address and very, very pertinent suggestions that, ma'am, you have given. They are well noted, and definitely, ma'am, we will see that some of these suggestions actually see the light of the day. And this is, ma'am, it's not just a sort of a conversation or a conference. Basically, the idea is, the rationale is that we will be in fact making the action taken report out of this, the deliberations that our subject matter experts will be doing in the technical sessions. Once the report is ready, within week times or 10 days, we will seek time from your office and we'll come to your office with this report. And some of the things which are like low-hanging fruit, at least we can start immediately with maybe short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. So please do help us and support us in making our endeavors fruitful also. Thank you very much, man. Thank you again. So ladies and gentlemen, this is about the inaugural session we have done, and we have gained a lot of insights from our subject matter experts and our distinguished speakers who have given their very, very insightful address. Now, with this, I'd like to request our chair for this committee to kindly felicitate our guests with a plant and a memento. First of all, Dr. Subi, can you come forward and please felicitate Anmeet man, Nanda man with a memento and a plant, please. Yeah, please give it to ma'am. It's a small staff. I'd like to, जी ma'am, आपका phone. Please felicitate Mr. Tripathi also with a memento. So thank you very much indeed. It was a wonderful session, and we thanks to our supporters, our partners, LIMCO, NMOB, and also Ministry of Social Empowerment for supporting this very important summit. And then as I told you that in the technical sessions, the startups you mentioned, some of them will be joining us as speakers also. They'll be telling us about the success stories, and also they also have a ask from the government, like there are certain things, certain impediments that actually they need to be unlit, they need to be uncovered, so that they are able to make some of the important 4 keywords that you said, that the technology should be intelligent, it should be affordable, it should be available, and it should be scalable. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We break for networking tea in our this foyer, Hindware foyer, just outside. You have to just move outside and walk towards left. There's a tea waiting for all of you. And then we will join for the technical session 1 exactly after 15 minutes. Thank you. Technical session 1, wherein we'll be discussing about the AI, the future trends, innovations in assistive technology, the cognitive therapies, the manufacturing and market access for AT, and we'll be discussing some of the issues, the challenges, and also the opportunities. So we have with us the galaxy of domain experts who will be deliberating on this theme. May I request our panelists to kindly come on the dais. I'll request Dr. Anita Agarwal, Scientist F and Head, Science for Equity, Empowerment and Development, known by the acronym SEED, Medical Devices and Technology Cell, Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, to kindly come on the dais. A big round of applause for Dr. Anita Agarwal. We have with us Dr. Vishal Gandhi, founder and CEO of BioRx Venture Advisors Private Limited. He is already here. I think he's having tea. We have with us Professor Dr. Sushil Chandra, former scientist DRDO and ex-scientist G, head of CCML in Mars DRDO. A big round of applause for Dr. Chandra also. We have with us Dr. Suraj, and now Dr. Suraj will be giving a detailed presentation. He is from Department of Community Ophthalmology, Dr. RP Center for Ophthalmic Sciences, AIMS, New Delhi. So Dr. Suraj, in fact, everybody is waiting to see the PPT that you have made and what strides AIMS has taken in developing the assistive technology. So over to you, sir.
Acha, slide वहीं से. Acha. Okay, okay. So I have to stand here. Thank you, Dr. Jitendra ji, for having me. So as I said in the inauguration session, so that assistive technology all of a sudden for the last few years gained a lot of attention globally as well as in India. So, and this conference, the title of the conference is very much matching what is happening in our country, this AI for a Viksit Bharat. So we had a couple of meetings with the ministry also, this about assistive technology in different, sector. Right from the government e-market. So, for example, in the government e-market, so what sort of assistive products should be available? Okay, so that people can buy from, like those organizations, government organizations can buy from the government e-market. And other sectors like fellow engineers, AIMS, we have National Center for Assistive Health Technology. So we are having 13 engineered fellow, IIT Mumbai, IIT Delhi, IIT Madras. So many fellows are with us in AIMS, and at the same time we try, to have innovation in terms of assistive product development. So currently we are working very intensively. So coming to the conference, so the first, the assistive technology, how this assistive technology all of a sudden comes in our, in our mind. So let me share one or two slides. And second one is the AI power. Since I am associated with the eye department of AIMS hospital, so I should share the AI powered assistive device for low vision and the blind. So, the global attention, in 2014, as I said, after the release of this global disability report 2010, so in 2014, that GET initiative was formed. And at the same time, it was launched by the WHO. And then slowly that the momentum gains for the assistive technology area. So in India, so under the Ministry of Health, and under the ICMR, there are so many initiatives happening, starting from the survey, because we want to know what are the unmet needs, met needs, how many of them use assistive product, what challenge, because this is very important for us to know the magnitudes of the needs and unmet needs, and challenge faced by those beneficiaries, which is very, very important. So I am lucky to be the first person who conduct the survey. That is a rapid assistive technology survey in our country. So it was published in Lancet, so when one of you can explore it. So I think more than 350 million people need such assistive product, but the sample size is very small. So currently that ICMR is conducting the rapid assessment of assistive technology. So just to know how many actual needs, just to estimate the needs for assistive product, assistive technology in our country. The sample size is very huge, the 2 lakh sample size. So this will represent the country's finding. So as you say, so this AT cycle, so this is a term I always introduce, this AT cycle, the cycle should be virtuous, not vicious. What does it mean? Vicious cycle is a negative, okay, so negative feedback. Suppose someone is having disable, because of disability, he cannot earn, okay, his livelihood suffer ho gaya. Again, livelihood suffer ho gaya, so he cannot access the health care. And the vicious cycle, it's a negative kind of thing. But in virtuous cycle, it should be positive feedback, okay. We have a startup, okay, we have a workshop, we have an incubator, and they should give some kind of feedback to the industry and the manufacturer, okay. We have designed, we have developed, this is a prototype, alpha version, Zoe version. उसको workshop में बना दिया and connect with the industry and manufacturer, and from there, remember assistive product, assistive technology service across the pan-India, distribution and warehousing is so important, because it's not like a medicine, because this is my experience for supply chain. It's very, very difficult if you want to reach to the last mile, okay. So distribution and warehousing is very, very challenging, because my personal experience. And the fourth component is hospital and IT services provider. In hospital, assistive technology services, because hospital is the place where someone who need assistive product, contact first. So right from the hospital itself, if they, if the provider are able to sensitize, orient, so that will give a lot of impact in terms of acceptability, in terms of adaptations. Because this is my personal experience in eye hospital of the RP center. We do have a low vision and vision rehabilitation clinic. So, for example, a child born blind at birth, तो parent के साथ हमारे पास आएगा. तो right from the beginning, suppose for example, the congenital blind, Okay, and say ROP, I don't know, ROP is retinopathy of prematurity. It happens because of unmonitored oxygen supply, and retina becomes damaged. The child becomes blind, the premature baby. Okay, so right from the beginning, we orient, we sensitize about the assistive product, because the medical and surgical management, nothing can be done to those child, okay, the ROP and the congenital blind, yeah, some sort of inherited retinal disease. So though this startup industry, manufacture, distribution, warehousing, hospital, IT services, there has to be some kind of virtuous cycle. Okay, बीच में कोई कट नहीं होना चाहिए, तभी हमारा ग्रो होगा, तभी हमारा कंट्री ग्रो होगा, because we should not work independently. Okay, because currently the AT is very fragmented. I would say it's fragmented, very scattered. We know that AT exists since long, because how many of you my spectacles becomes an assistive product? Last 6-7 years, even I'm a doctor, okay. So we never use this as a vision assistive product, okay. So spectacle to hai hamare paas. 100 years ago, spectacle pari hai, but so the term itself something relatively new and still is very scattered, okay. Even the definition also, okay. What is the definition? How do you define assistive product, assistive technology? There are a lot of discussion. So we need to work together from all angle, okay. We have to come on board, on table, and discuss the issues, the challenge, about the needs, the products under the Make in India campaigns. So this is the clinic, as I said, in the RP center we have, and we provide a lot of training. So WHO support us. We have a high-end device as well, and so some the usability trial we are conducting, under this National Center for Assistive Health Technology supported by the ministry. So we invite those startups if they have some kind of product. So you give a presentation to our committee, that NCAT committee, and so we will provide a platform to conduct a usability trial. Because globally, because there are so many startups, okay, so literature review, the systematic review says 70 to 75% of the assistive products are not being conducted usability trial. Okay, a proper, sound, robust usability trial, या evaluation, या validation, अब जो भी आप कहोगे, just you see the literature review, because it impacts the adaptability and acceptability. So the usability trial is so critical, is very essential for any assistive product. Okay, so AMC is providing some kind of platform. We don't need any funding. We just need a device. Okay, we just need a device. Device you have to give free. Okay, if the patient needs, then we have to provide to the patient. हमने पेशेंट को यूज़ करा लिया, हमने फीडबैक ले लिया, उसको हमने डिवाइस के बिना हमने पेशेंट को घर भेज दिया, तो दिस इज अनइथिकल इन मेडिकल प्रैक्टिस, राइट. सो करेंटली AI powered assistive product, currently we are conducting a usability trial, okay, with a 30 sample size. So we will give proper feedback in a scientific manner, okay. So this is the assistive product. I'm not going into detail. So since, as I said, I work in eye hospital, so it's my responsibility to share you some of the AI powered assistive product. Sorry, this is Sahil, you see. There are some videos. देखो बच्चा है, this ROP stage 5, ये 3.5 साल के बच्चा है. देखो यहाँ पे ना दोबारा यहाँ से करना होता है क्या? ये वीडियो है इसमें, देखो. देखो बच्चा चल नहीं पा रहा है. 3.5 years baby who denies walking because he has never seen how human being walk in our clinic. Okay, तो हम कोशिश करते हैं उसको चलने के लिए. दूसरा वीडियो भी कैसे hold on. Okay, sorry. This child is a 2.5 years old. He denied to stand up. So he always cry because mothers try to stand, independently, but child denies. And another child is we try with the musical toys to, just to, provide training how to walk. उसको बोलते हैं habilitation for mobility. Habilitation means first time training in a child. Okay, first time, never had done earlier. Okay. Second one is, the third is child started coordinating with the sound. Okay, so from this moment, so we sensitize the parents. Okay, you start providing. Child needs some kind of CAN training. You can start. So because he has started coordination with the sound, because tapping sound, or because CAN training, you have so many techniques. So these are some of the few slides. We have a lot of patients every day, around 15 to 20 patients okay, including child no, blind at birth. Okay. So in eye sectors, you have traditional vision assistive device and advanced assistive device. Traditional ke liye, you have, these are all traditional. The first one is a dome magnifier, as I said. We imported from the Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is a world supplier, very cheap. This is a dome magnifier, especially students with, school students with a visual disability, with a low vision, not a blind. These devices are for the blind, not for the blind, okay, except cane. So dome is very, very useful for a child, okay, who is going to school, okay, because in adults we don't recommend dome, okay, for the study purpose, dome, magnifier, and a telescope, handheld, and some of the devices, these are traditional. See, the traditional assistive device, there are so many limitations, okay, it has got fixed magnification, fixed distance, agar use karne to near, close to face, there are so many limitations in traditional assistive device. उसका मतलब क्या है? So we need to have some kind of advanced AI power, AR power. I don't know how many of you working in AR. AR is basically for low vision. AI particularly applicable for the total blind. Okay. So we need some kind of advanced assistive product for the low vision in the blind. Because traditional devices, of course, they are important for the children. Okay. So we need to think about other devices which can minimize this limitation. See, the fixed level of magnification, reduce field of vision, आप magnifier देखोगे telescope, your field of vision is very small, tubular vision हो जाएगा आपका, ठीक है? And close working distance, अगर को magnifier use करना है तो close working distance, okay? And cannot enhance the contrast. Contrast आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते traditional devices में. And the majority are not hands free. आपको पकड़ना पड़ेगा majority. किसी को अगर tremor है, हाँ senior citizen, अगर ट्रेमर ऐसे हाथ काँप रहे हैं, हाँ ट्रेमर, तो it's very difficult for them to use it. Of course, there are stand magnifier, but again, stand magnifier you have to look. Okay, so over time you will have a scoliosis. Okay, so needs motor power to hold the devices and usually a single task. Near के लिए अलग, intermediate के लिए अलग, distance के लिए अलग. So different device for the traditional. So there are so much of limitation when you talk about a traditional assistive device. So what does it mean? We need AI and AI power devices. Some example. Now coming to the AI power. Okay, let me give you a little bit, one slide. What is all about AI? Okay, so we human beings learn from the data. Okay, we learn from the figure, we learn from the photos, table. Same thing. Okay, machine also started learning from the data. Okay, AI is nothing is a data-based learning. Okay, so you learn from the table. आप table देखोगे, figure देखोगे, उससे कुछ हम सीख लेते हैं. Okay, but similarly, when you have a huge amount of data, okay, those data you incorporated, okay, under the algorithm with the different layers, okay, different layers based on the data complexity, and the machine started learning. Okay, so that's a simple. Okay, then start in terms of decision making, okay, in terms of your problem solving, so that machine can learn. So key AI technology in vision. Okay, there are certain, because there are so many variants of AI. So then in the eye sectors, you have a computer vision, you have optical character recognitions, you have a large language models, you have a YOLO. There's some of the AI we apply for assistive product. For the diagnostic is a different. Okay, this is an assistive product, assistive vision product. Okay, so for example, this is the mobile phone. So this mobile phone recognize my face. Okay, so I can easily open by looking at the mobile phone. See, it opens. So that means this mobile phone recognize my face. Okay, so mobile capture my face, and then the mobile phone learn from my face. Okay, owner ने मेरे को सामने रखा हुआ है, I should open it. So this is the computer vision. The computer becomes an eye. This is a computer, right? So it can open. Okay, so computer vision. So some of the technology, so we should not go into detail. So we do know something because we are not very high, we are not engineer, so we do have some idea because we are doing a trial. Okay, we are doing a trial, so we need to know some of the basic concept of this AI in assistive vision, not for the medical devices, but not for the diagnostic AI power devices. See some of the AI enabled devices. Okay, so this one is currently we are doing trial now. Okay, this is a, as a madam said, this is developed by the Torsit. अभी जो madam ने mention किया. So अभी currently we have collected data from the 20 individual with the blind. Okay, so we want to give some kind of feedback. This Orcam also we have here is very expensive. See Orcam, my eyes. Actually, that one agency they approached us because the Orcam device they want to promote in India national. So when we ask the price, then the ministry immediately mana kar diya. So we cannot afford. This is very expensive. So and other GT AI smart vision glasses. Okay, so this is another Bangalore-based product. So there are some wearable AI also are available. Okay, for the total blind. And now currently this smartphone application. Okay, there's some AI enabled smartphone application. Okay, seeing AI, look out, be my eyes. They are very very helpful to a person with a visual disability, especially for total blind. उसमें आपको code reading करने में currency and reading. Okay, so these are some of the daily activities which can help by those smartphone application. But if someone wants to use this application, they should be able to operate smartphone. The first, every device for vision related AI power, the smartphone proficiency is a must. Okay, smartphone कैसे app करना है, कैसे operate करना है, it is very very important. But first we ask in the clinic, somebody because nowadays because people are are aware of AI power devices. कल परसों भी किसी का फोन आया था CTBS cardiothoracic surgery का PA का. So the first I ask the patients whether he or she knows how to operate a smartphone, because everything is connected with the smartphone. Okay. So that's the another challenge for adult, for all age, for senior citizens. Without a smartphone, because a blind person operating smartphone needs a training, at least 1 or 2 months training देना पड़ेगा उसको. Smartphone कैसे operate करना है, तभी आपको AI based power enable AI smart glass use कर पाएंगे. Okay, so first question I ask whether you are able to operate smartphone using a screen reader. Okay, we have talkback, we have a voiceover. If the patient says no, I cannot, then you should first go for a training how to operate a smartphone, how to use a screen reader. Okay, like that. So as I said, this is all we need to connect all this pillar. Okay, startup industry, and then in the hospital also. I was wondering if we are able to incorporate some of the chapter in medical learning, like MBBS, like even nursing, or is assistive technology. Because yesterday I asked one of our nursing faculty member who is very senior. So are they have some kind of knowledge aware about this assistive technology? So she said none of the nursing faculty, they are around 1,500. She said no one knows about this assistive technology. That means we need to have some kind of a small chapter. Okay, so maybe in the future now आजकल जो vocational education आ रहे हैं mainstream education में है, so maybe in the future students also are aware of what is the assistive technology. But in medical science and the medical area, so we need to promote in-house, starting from the the undergraduate students, postgraduate students, and so other allied medical students. There's a lot of work to do. So future trend, so this AR, AI, AR is a very difficult, you need an optical engineer. In India, I have a device, okay, which can be used by a low vision person. So I have shown IIT Bhubaneswar, this device to IIT Bhubaneswar, IIT Delhi, there's low vision devices, okay. So they said it needs an optical engineer, someone who can make camera, micro camera. So it's very challenging, the augmented reality based devices. Okay, this is for the low vision person, not for the total blind. Okay, so abhi we need to work a lot. Thank you so much. Okay.
spectacle wearing people?
So the number I said not only the spectacles. Okay, so one person may need at least one or more assistive product device, because for me I need only one assistive product. Okay, so that number is not only for the spectacles. Okay, so this survey, in survey the participants is from all across a person with disabilities, maybe locomotor, maybe hearing, maybe cognition, maybe eye. So
a person like me or you, for
Yeah.
example, so if we are wearing spectacles,
yes.
do we call ourselves visually impaired or no?
Yeah, definitely. If you have some kind of spectacles, someone can wear as a cosmetic purpose. Okay. Okay. So if you have some number, okay, either near or distance, definitely it's a assistive product. And then I will say you have vision impairments. Okay. तभी आपको assistive product. Yeah.
I come in the disabled category.
No. See. Don't confuse with the. Don't confuse. Okay. So there are certain terms. One is a difficulty. One is disability. The survey is difficulty. We use the term difficulties because I'm wearing these spectacles. You cannot say I'm disabled. So the two different terms. You have to have very clear-cut concept in research, in scientific research. Okay. So difficulty and disability. There's a lot of difference. Okay. So every person with disability, they will have difficulties. Okay. Do you agree me or not? So every person with difficulty, they may not have a disability. Okay, so you need to have very clear concept in scientific research. So I am having a difficulty, so vision, but I am not disabled. Okay.
So that part you clarified. Now in one of the slides, you also showed smart glasses.
Yes.
Now, how do they assist? I mean, is it for people like you and me, or is it for people who are having more serious visual impairment?
Yeah, so that's why I'm telling in vision assistive product, one is for a low vision person. Low vision का मतलब है आप थोड़ा देख रहे हैं. You have a poor eyesight, but still you are able to see. But a total blind, okay, absolute blinds, so you cannot see anything. Okay, we consider as a PL negative and PL positive. Light दिख रही है, if I close my eyes, okay, I can see the light. The someone is having a PL negative means light कुछ भी नहीं दिख रही है. Okay, so in vision assistive product, okay, product for a low vision person, product for the total blind. So the AI power, अभी तक AI enabled device is for the total blind person. But the AR, the augmented reality, okay, augmented reality is for the, most of the device based on the AR is for the low vision. Because उसको real world को enhance करना है. You have the real world with the device, okay, it enhance the magnification, contrast, AS, okay, and color changing, everything. So this is based on the AR, augmented reality, okay. Nowadays आजकल आ गया mix AR and VR, virtual reality. So अभी advance हो रहे हैं, but धीरे-धीरे, but
I mean, sorry for extending
yes,
my question.
please.
Just to understand. So there are a lot of advertisements coming in newspapers and media.
Yeah.
From companies like Lenskart and all that, and Virat Kohli wearing some of those. What are those smart type of goggles, or what are those smart wearables?
So जो newspaper में आ रहे हैं, this for the total blind के लिए है, जो AI है, mostly AI power.
But why Virat Kohli is promoting?
No,
That's what I
question क्या था?
Virat Kohli, who is a player, of course,
विराट कोहली, अच्छा जो मेटा वाला, okay. अच्छा मेटा वाला, okay. So मेटा जो the glasses है, वो actually there is for a sighted person basically, not for the blind, okay. So someone sighted person wants to record photo connection with the mobile phone. अभी to the best of my knowledge, और low vision blind के लिए वो नहीं है device. This is true. To the best of my knowledge, I have my friend do have a Meta glass, and to the best of my knowledge, हमने check किया, this not for the sighted for the sighted person only, not for the low vision and the total blind. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I add on to the answer related to your question? It's a separate field which is known as augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. Because luckily I've been working in that area since more than 20 years. As even in our earlier session speakers, there are lots of assistive technology which is perfectly for abled person in addition to disabled person. And there are many devices which have been developed for differently abled but is being used wonderfully by abled. But if we talk about AR and VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, they have been developed for abled people. But it has got equal or rather more applications for differently abled people also. That's all I'm trying to add.
Sir, I like Meta has a little bit some features for people with visual impairments as well. Like it can create image description, and Meta also get benefit from people with disabilities, like in terms of award and tax benefits. So this is a mutual benefit. I have one request. There are filter glasses. You probably know about it, like red filter glasses and yellow filter glasses. Those are very useful for people with low vision, and even people with retinitis pigmentosa, eye disease, which I have. So मैंने वो काफ़ी लोग जो पेशेंट्स है जो क्योर नहीं हो सकते जिनकी आइज़, उनको लगा के देखा तो उनको काफ़ी हेल्प होती है अगर थोड़ा सा भी विज़न है तो उनके पास. तो मेरी रिक्वेस्ट ये रहेगी कि लाइक वो हमें इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है, वो 5000 का तो यूज़र को पड़ रहा है. तो आप प्लीज़ आप एम्स के अंदर उसको अवेलेबल करवाइए, ताकि जो प्रॉपर फिल्टर ग्लासेस है, येलो वाला जो इंडोर के लिए होता है और बाहर जो रेड वाला होता है टिंटेड वाला जो धूप से बचाता है, वो सभी को मिल सके और वो हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में भी बन सके. मतलब इंडिया में बनाना बहुत ज़रूरी है, नहीं तो वो तो महंगा जा रहा है. इतना 5000 रुपये का तो बहुत एक्सपेंसिव हो जाता है. इतना कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट टेक्नोलॉजी तो नहीं है वो उसमें.
Yeah, very true. There are some assistive product which is called filter. फिल्टर में अलग अलग कलर होती है. जैसे मान लो आप किसी का कोई ग्लॉकोमा होगा, ओके, आपने कभी सनी डियोल ने कुछ चश्मा येलो एम्बर येलो कलर देखा होगा, सनी डियोल. हाँ, सो दिस आर अ फिल्टर. उसका जो एडवांटेज ये है फिल्टर का, फिल्टर इज़ नॉट अ गॉगल्स, ओके, डिफरेंट. सो फिल्टर में क्या है, हमारा जो आपका जो सनलाइट है, सनलाइट में यू हैव अ विजिबल, अल्ट्रा एंड शॉर्ट. Okay, so what happened in the filter is, remember the blue light is not good for our eye. उसमें आपको ग्लैरिटी नज़र आ रही है, वो रही है ब्लू लाइट की वजह से है वो आई में. सो फिल्टर में इसमें क्या मैकेनिज्म क्या है, जो हमारा जो अनकम्फर्टेबल जो लाइट है, जो वेवलेंथ, those wavelength which falls under the uncomfortable range, it will absorb by the filter. Only the comfort, the wavelength, the longer wavelength, it will be passed to the eye. Okay, so that means this cause some kind of a very comfort to the person wearing a filter. Okay, filter means depends upon what problem you have. Suppose someone is having ARMD, so which type of filter you should wear? Okay, someone is having retinitis pigmentosa, someone is having Rodson's cone dystrophy, someone is having, there are so many IRD, inherited retinal disease, inherited, okay, family history. So isme filter is very important to choose which filter is appropriate for you, because filter will help you to absorb those uncomfortable, those wavelength causing clarity. Okay, so for that we need to do some kind of subjective trial. Okay, you have a range of filter. Okay, different color, dark brown, dark green, yellow, amber yellow. I mean, make color. So many range, filter. So you have to do some kind of subjective trial, and then you can wear. Filter also help to enhance, because clarity. Okay. Vision equity will be the same. Okay, the clarity you will get to know once you wear it. Okay, so even the sighted person, normal person also, once you wear the filter, many times you find the cricket player, they wear the yellow, amber yellow wala. वो बहुत ही clear नजर आता है उसमें पहनने के बाद. Okay, goggle is different from filter. Ashutosh said rightly, many people with a low vision needs filter. Okay, and इस area में भी filter अभी तक बनाते नहीं है, वो भी बाहर से import करना होता है. Noir filter, because we do not have any optical engineer. Very hardly, I don't know, many engineer might be. IIT mein, is there any optical engineer? IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, I think IIT Bombay mein, I don't know, 1 or 2 optical engineer, which can make camera, micro camera, all the glass related things. So there's a lack of this optical engineer which can think about developing those devices for a low vision person. Okay. So.
Now I request our next speaker, next panelist, Dr. Anita Agarwal, scientist and head Science for Equity, Empowerment and Development, Science, Medical Devices and Technology Cell, Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, to kindly share her address.
I think it's good afternoon now. Very good afternoon to all the esteemed participants who have gathered here. Department of Science and Technology की तरफ से नमस्कार. So if you look at Department of Science and Technology, so हम लोगों का first mandate is to promote R&D in the country, and we make policies for research, doing research and development in the country, and those policies and those guidelines are adopted by other sister departments like Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Health, who are promoting R&D in the country in their specific domains. So the beauty about DST is we are sector agnostic. So we don't promote any particular sectors, and we are there in all the sectors. So it's, I mean, very well said everywhere. DST is like a air. Any researcher who have done research at any point in their life, they must have worked in a DST facility, or as a stakeholder, they have been benefited by R&D funding from DST. So next slide, please. So we also run a program specifically for doing R&D and develop new devices and technologies and processes to assist the people like who need assistive technologies. So I had Science Seek Division. So what our focus is on, we support R&D and adaptive R&D. So we support R&D and adaptive R&D, again, sector agnostic. So the focus is like social inclusion, then geographical inclusion, and economic inclusion. So we want all kind of inclusion through our programs. So there are different programs addressing different issues. So for the inclusion of Divyanjan and the people who need special assistive technologies, so we have a special program type. Similarly, we have a tribal sub-plan program also, where we are, so our beneficiaries for those programs will be tribal communities, and for scheduled caste also, for women also, and for rural population. So these are the majority of the populations we are trying to assist through these programs. And the other major objective is sustainable technologies and how to enhance their livelihood. So livelihood is an all-encompassing term which includes their health, education, and social well-being. So if you look at, sorry, this is an old data. So if you look at the Global Innovation Index, we have continuously been climbing the ladders, and right now we are at 38th position. So India is innovating at a very fast pace. It can be seen by the number of startups also which have come up in different domains. But if you look at the parallelly, if you look at the Human Development Index, so still we are lagging behind, and we have not made any significant progress there. So itself, it demonstrates that we need to work a lot on the human front, where technology has some humanitarian angle, and it is being used for the benefit of the people, to reduce the inequalities and create an equitable and inclusive society. So the technology should also, it should not be emerging technologies and vertical, where you are going in one vertical. So horizontally also, technology should be accessible to all the section of the societies, and it should be, used for the benefit to have an equitable and inclusive society. So the main focus of the department, as reflected in our policies also, is to have STI for inclusive development. So, under this umbrella, so if you look at assistive technologies, how department sees assistive technologies it's an umbrella term for assistive living. So assistive living could be it could be how a person with certain, you can say, deficiencies, how you can support the person to have a quality living, equal to the one which has everything accessible to them. So, or the products are like, could be physical like wheelchairs and your spectacles, or it could be digital also, like converting sign language, so all those platforms, or any kind of, so many apps are also available these days. So it could be digital or it could be physical. So it is of very, like, the most important aspect is it's very fundamental that the person who is using any kind of assistive technology should be empowered, should see a improvement in their quality of life after using these technologies. So department has done a survey long back, maybe around 10 years back. So where for assistive living, so if, for example, a blind person is there, so what should be the placement of the bag and how he should maneuver in the house. So that was, we have done that study with the School of Planning and Architecture. So it's not only assistive devices, so it's all encompassing and includes assisting living also. So, people who need assistive technologies include elderly people, as already pointed out by Dr. Senjan. So it includes elderly people, people in humanitarian crisis, like where the floods are there, or it could be any natural calamity, or even wars, which are like happening these days. And Divyanjan, so it could be congenital, or it may be acquired due to some accident. And people with chronic conditions also, like somebody may have a stroke, or then diabetes or cancer. So they are also like one of the major stakeholders for using assistive technologies. So how does these technologies benefit? These are general slides, I'm sure all of you must be knowing about all this. So just to have a flow, I am just covering. So education, health, mental health, physical activities. So once you enable a person, so they see themselves as a very integral part of the society and become a contributing member in the society. So what principles, like once we get the projects or we look at R&D project, what are the principles we are looking for? Accessibility. So whatever devices our investigators are proposing, they should be accessible to the target population which they have identified. Then adaptability. It should be adaptable. You should have different makes. So maybe in a rural setup, so your advanced prototype, your advanced product may not work. So you should have a range of product to address a particular anomaly. Then acceptability. It should be acceptable to the users. So whenever you are doing any kind of development, users should be on board with you. Users means actual users. You cannot go to clinicians. You should work with the actual users on ground level who are going to use those products. Then affordability. This is a very key important issue. Because most of the cases, people who need this kind of technologies, like financially also they are compromised. And as pointed out by one of the audience, of course, price point is a very important ticklish factor. And then availability, and they should be regularly available and serviceable. Then quality. So quality is an important parameter. So if you start using some product and the quality is not appropriate, so if users are not happy with the quality, it will not find the market. So DSK started this program, Technologies for Elderly, in 2007. And after that, in 2013, on request from Ministry of Social Justice, so disability component was also included. So from then on, we have supported more than 100 projects, and we were able to reach up to TRL 4 or 5 prototype stage in most of the cases. So technologies were demonstrated, and they were like, people have worked with limited number of users. And I think out of 100, maybe 1 or 2 have seen the light of the day. So since this is a forum where industry and startups are sitting, so I will request everybody to look at those products. So those products are still relevant and coming with now with the advent of like AI and machine learning, so we can improvise and work upon them to make them more effective also. But the main challenge with this R&D funding is the participation of industry and startups is abysmally low. So whatever has been developed in the lab, most of the time it stays in the lab only. And the initiatives, as Professor Suraj was telling, at least they have started doing the trials and they are working to push these products further in the market. And in this direction, ICMR has done a commendable job. So they have brought out the list of essential assistive devices, and they are working further on it for each category, like what should be the ideal specs which will meet the requirements of the community. So they are doing the consultation and working further on it. So all the departments, like major stakeholder departments in this area of assistive technologies is like ICMR is working as far as research and development is concerned. Then DSK is working, GBK is also working. They are also supporting a lot of products. And then we have CSIR labs, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. So their labs are also working on assistive technologies. So for optics, as Dr. Suraj was saying, CSIO Chandigarh, so they have a very good facility and they are doing a lot of work on optics. So for our type programs, so we have 3 major stakeholders: elderly, Divyanjan, and children with special abilities. So these are the disabilities we are trying to address through by supporting R&D projects. So we don't support studies and survey kind of projects. So we support technology and process developments. So the programmatic support is provided to develop technologies, and 50 technologies, I said, they have been successfully demonstrated in the last 10 years. So under the program, we have also supported the development of cochlear implant very recently with DRDO. So DRDO lab, Gebel, Bangalore is working on it with the Caltron. And so they are working on advanced version of cochlear implant. It will be, again, having AI component integrated into the system. So this is a recent initiative of the department. So the project was initiated during the last financial year. So like this is the project distribution. So this is just to give an idea that we are not only limited to 1 or 2 places. Our spread is huge. So we have covered all the states. I mean, we have a presence in all the states and in all the disability sectors also. Around 100 projects have been supported. And we have covered many of the states, and around 34 institutions have been covered. So it's not only IITs who are working in the domain. There are multiple educational institutions which are engaged in development of wearable technologies. I mean, we have a very good base of researchers in the country who are working on wearable technologies, where AI can have a major role. And LLMs also, we have our own LLM model developed at IIT Bombay. So sign language conversion and all those things are being attempted using our own LLMs. And IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi are the like big leaguers as far as LLMs are concerned. So this is this is just to give you a model, how do we see a scientific project. So input is the money and the time that is going into it, and output for any technology development program is in terms of technology demonstration. The knowledge generation is a secondary output for us. And what kind of added value outcomes are there? So this is one model where investigator has worked with the industry from the inception of the project. So this kind of projects have a better chance to see the light of the day. Now this is another model for monitoring of human gait the PI has developed. So this is an R&D project where prototype was developed. Then the PI with the prototype reached out to different industries. So had a workshop like this where he demonstrated his product before the industries. And the interested industries, after seeing the workability of the product, they offered to work with the investigators. So this is another project where we are supporting only initial basic work. So, and this is hearing impaired. Yeah, this is another project where the PI himself, so they start initiating their own startup, and now they are available on the GEM portal with a hearing aid. So this product was developed at AIMS Raipur. So these are the 4 different models you can see where we are funding proof of concept, funding academia industry partnership, and funding the projects where the startups emerged from the outcome of the project. So these are some of the products which are available on our website also. Like if anybody is interested, they have been developed, the prototypes have been developed, and some clinical trials have also been done. So as we go ahead, see what is the vision of the programs. So what we observed is like funding projects in isolation is not helping us to achieve our goals of taking these prototypes to the market. So if you work in the form of a coordinated center or a coordinated platform, so you have better outreach, better visibility, and the chances of these products going to market will increase considerably. So we have interacted with the industry forums also, and there is this Assistive Devices Manufacturing Association also with Atma. So we are interacting with various industry forums and we'll see how to have centers where they are integral partners in our initiative, so that we have a better visibility, and we also take industry requirements into account when we fund these projects. So next is how do you scale up these products? So we have reached up to a prototype, so that is the mandate of the DST to support R&D. But beyond that, how do you take it to the market? How do you do the scaling up? So that is another big challenge for us. So I acknowledge my team, which has always provided consistent support to take these initiatives forward. And at this juncture, I would also like to highlight the programs of DST, which are again sector agnostic, but they do provide support to startups and industry. So we have established technology business incubators across various institutions. More than 150 TBIs have been established. And there we have multiple startups which are working in the domain of assistive technologies. Apart from that, I believe many of you will be aware of RDI fund also. So their sunrise sectors have been identified, and I believe AI-enabled devices will be covered in the sunrise sectors. So if you are looking for a very high-end device like bionic eye, bionic arm, or somewhere where you need superior technologies, so that platform is also available. RDI fund is exclusively available only for industries and startups. So RDI fund is not available for academia to do the research. So the TRL should be above 4 to avail the benefit of RDI fund. So TRL above products up to commercialization. So all those schemes you can explore from our website. So with this, I thank you all for patient hearing. So dhanyavad, Jai Hind. So this is just for the thought. So if you have any questions, so I will be. Yeah, please, bataएं.
मैम आई डू एग्री वो मार्केट में नहीं आते प्रोडक्ट CSIR का एक दिव्यंजन था स्मार्ट ग्लासेस और वो काफ़ी लगभग 5-6 साल पहले ही बन गया था और मतलब वो अभी तक मार्केट में नहीं आ पाया है जितना और प्राइवेट प्लेयर फेमस हो चुके हैं उतना वो नहीं हो पाया और उसके अंदर काफ़ी सारे इशूज़ भी हैं एज ए पर्सन विद विजुअल इम्पेयरमेंट हाउ कैन आई कंट्रीब्यूट टू योर इंस्टीट्यूट्स सो योर product can become accessible for people with disabilities.
जी बताएं आगे.
Please tell the actual proper process.
देखिए, as far as DSK is concerned, तो हम जो next level होता है कि users होते हैं, we don't interact with them. हमारा जो फंडिंग है वो इंस्टीट्यूशन को जाता है, और इंस्टीट्यूशन का रोल रहता है कि वो यूज़र्स को कैसे रिक्रूट करे और उनके साथ कैसे काम करे. So as a DST, our funding goes for R&D to the researchers या scientists जो इस डोमेन में काम कर रहे हैं. तो ये जो नेक्स्ट लेवल रिक्रूटमेंट होता है जिसमें वो यूज़र्स के साथ काम करते हैं या इंडस्ट्री के साथ काम करते हैं, तो ये इन्वेस्टिगेटर्स का डिसीज़न होता है कि किसके साथ काम करना है. अब जैसे आपको पता होगा कि IIT दिल्ली में एक बहुत अच्छा सेंटर है जो विजुअल डिसेबिलिटीज़ पे काम करता है, तो NGOs के साथ भी वो लोग काम करते हैं. बट वी डोंट इम्पोज एनीथिंग ओवर द रिसर्चर्स, क्योंकि अगर हम अपनी तरफ से इम्पोज करेंगे तो दैट विल रिस्ट्रिक्ट देयर एसेंटी फ्रीडम. तो इसीलिए हम रिसर्चर्स को ही बोलते हैं कि आप अपनी टीम बनाइए, आप यूज़र्स को अपने साथ लेकर आइए, बट डायरेक्टली वी डोंट टेल देम कि आप इसी यूज़र को करिए. वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हो जाता है हम लोगों की साइड से. तो डेफिनेटली लाइक देयर आर प्रोग्राम्स विच आर ऑन गोइंग फॉर विजुअल डिसेबिलिटीज ऑल्सो. तो आप उन लोगों से कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं जो इन प्रोग्राम्स को कर रहे हैं हमसे फंडिंग लेकर डायरेक्टली, और उनके साथ एंगेज होकर यू कैन हेल्प देम. बट वही होता है कि डेवलपमेंट हो जाती है, बट उसको स्केल करने के लिए, कमर्शलाइज करने के लिए, ले जाने के लिए, जैसे आपने भी बताया कि CSIO का जो प्रोडक्ट है उसके लिए हमें इंडस्ट्री की ज़रूरत है. ये रिसर्चर्स तो लैब में ही लिमिटेड प्रोटोटाइप्स डेवलप कर सकते हैं. लैब में आपको 5 बना के दे देंगे, 10 बना के दे देंगे, बट दैट डज नॉट सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द कम्युनिटी. उसके लिए इंडस्ट्री को, स्टार्टअप्स को, CSR इनिशिएटिव्स को आगे आने की ज़रूरत है ताकि उन प्रोडक्ट्स को वो नंबर्स में मास प्रोड्यूस करें और एक्चुअल यूज़र्स तक पहुंचाएं. तो हम आई कन्वे योर मैसेज टू द ग्रुप्स विच आर वर्किंग इन दिस एरिया रिसर्च का, और लेट्स सी हाउ दिस एंगेजमेंट कैन बी फैसिलिटेटेड.
यस मैम,
आई रियली अप्रिशिएट योर इंटेंट.
बेसिकली होता क्या है, जब वो NGO से कॉन्टैक्ट करते हैं, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट या कोई भी प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूट जो प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है, तो NGOs में क्या होता है, वो लाइक अपने बंदे को भेज देते हैं और फिर उनका वो जैसा चाहते हैं वो वैसा करवा सकते हैं. जैसे सुगम्य भारत ऐप का गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का है, तो जो MOU पार्टनर थे उन्होंने जैसा चाहा गवर्नमेंट, वो NGOs वालों ने जो उनके यूजर्स थे वैसे ही बोल दिया. मतलब एक्चुअल में जो चीज़ें हैं वो इतना नहीं आ पाती है, तो वो एक मतलब लैक ऑफ फीडबैक जाती है.
सो हम लोग अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स में आगे वी विल इंट्रोड्यूस कि वो सिविल सोसाइटी के मेंबर्स के साथ भी इंटरेक्ट करें, नॉट ओनली NGOs. तो हम लोग ये कंडीशन हम बोल सकते हैं इन्वेस्टिगेटर्स को कि आप कुछ सिविल सोसाइटी के मेंबर्स को भी लेकर आइए. योर सजेशन इज़ वेरी वेल टेकन.
थैंक यू मैम.
प्लीज़ प्लीज़.
He is very, very right. When we are talking about nothing about us without us, now the latest in thing is nothing without us.
Right.
आप जो हमारे लिए बना रहे हैं, हमसे बिना पूछे अगर बनाते, even if they are investigators, researchers, उनको basic जो requirement है as people, as users, अगर वो क्लैरिटी नहीं होगी तो वो उस चीज़ को बना नहीं पाएंगे.
हाँ,
A
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे
prototype
हैं.
has to be born accessible. And born accessible for not only people with disabilities, for senior citizens, people who are aging, and conditional and situational disabilities.
True.
You never know who will use it. So I think it is very important that we shift our mindset from the point that we create something and try to fix people for that, rather than we fix the stuff as per the requirement of the people.
हाँ, तो अब so eventually like as we went ahead, so now we have made it a mandatory condition to do the need assessment. तो वो need assessment अगर आपका नहीं होगा तो then we don't fund such projects. So genuinely like if they have not done the need, so most of the cases they are working with the institutes of Ministry of Social Justice who are for working in the particular sectors. So need assessment generally लोग आजकल वहाँ से करने लगे हैं, और they are going to the hospitals, क्योंकि individual level पर जाकर need assessment करना will be really very difficult for anybody. Thank you.
Need assessment, as ma'am rightly said. So the hospital, we have different departments, vision, eye, neurology, PMR. Each departments, are visited by those persons with disability or difficulty, जो भी है. So that's why right from the very beginning, so we need to have some kind of connection okay, collaboration, making partnership, because hospital is a place where you will find all range of needy persons, okay, starting from, vision and up to the, say, stroke patient, jo bhi hai. So, and now the government is trying, because hospital, we always think that hospital should provide patient care, not in terms of developing associated product, this and that. But the direction is changing now. So it may not be happen overnight, but that's why, as I repeatedly saying, aims, new 5 aims, now we have started this NCAT, National Center for Assistive Health Technology. Because in eye sector, I'm in charge. In hearing, there's one person. In locomotor, in PMR department, Dr. Sanjay Vadeva. And now Dr. Gita Handa. In neurology, in surgery, in orthopedics. So this faculty, senior faculty, they know it. At the same time, जो engineer join in this initiative, so they are being posted to different, we call the clinical emergence. They should know what are the challenges, what sort of requirements by those person visiting those of different department. So, abhi it's hardly 3 years. I mean, if I count today, so I think 2024 से हमने start किया है ये वाला. So I think now अभी इसकी जो output है so far, it's very, very amazing, because we have a collective of expert, the medical persons, okay, engineer, okay, on board, in a round table. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है, हमने कोई नीड असेसमेंट करना है, तो हम OPD में we have lot of patients. आपको न्यू पेशेंट भी मिलेगा, फॉलो भी मिलेगा. So we recruit, we interact with those, a lot of iteration with those patients, okay, different departments. So we realize that these are the needs for this patient, for this particular. For example, eye drops. हमने eye drop बनाए एक, अभी चल रहा है, पेटेंट फाइल हो गया है, तो हमको पता चल गया लो विजन इन ब्लाइंड पेशेंट का आई ड्रॉप डालने में कितना मुश्किल हो जाता है, वो भी इन्फेक्शन हो सकती है, कंजंक्टिवाइटिस. इवन अ सीनियर पर्सन who is having Alzheimer's disease, yeah, some kind of tremor, Parkinson's disease, for them it's very difficult to instill eye drops. Then we decided, because we observe in the clinic, suppose हमारे यहाँ पे sir and madam, instilling eye drop is very challenging, okay, it's a hilega. So we observe, we record, these are challenges faced by, and we took the feedback from the patient, from the beneficiary. Then we design an eye drops. Okay, luckily, ma'am, there has been already patents approved. So I mean, yeah. So we are working. I mean, trying, some sort of, coming from different background. Just say when I go to Tokyo, Japan, so the Tokyo Women University, वहाँ पे 2-3 लोग Indian PhD कर रही है. They are not the medical person. So all engineer they are working over there. जैसे हमारा स्क्रीन होती है एक्सरे देखने के लिए, सर्जन हाथ ऐसे करते हैं, वो टच करने की जरूरत नहीं था. इंटरफेस जो है जस्ट हैंड गेस्चर, बिकॉज कोई न्यूरो सर्जरी ऑपरेशन कर रहे हैं तो हाथ चेक कर, नेक्स्ट एक्सरे देखने के लिए ऐसे हाथ ऐसे करते हैं, ऐसे तो एंड रोबोटिक. सो वहाँ पे हमने वी इंटरेक्ट सो मेनी इंजीनियर, ओके, वहाँ पे काफ़ी इंजीनियर हमने इंटरेक्ट किया, मेडिकल बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियर, इवन ऑप्टिकल ऑल्सो. बट यहाँ पे क्या है, हम लोग हॉस्पिटल तो हॉस्पिटल ही है, कुछ है ही नहीं. जस्ट इमेजिन टोक्यो वुमेन यूनिवर्सिटी में जस्ट हॉस्पिटल है, टोक्यो वुमेन हॉस्पिटल, वहाँ पे इंजीनियर, बहुत सारा इंजीनियर काम करते हैं. तो somehow the government is trying. I'm not saying government is not doing anything, but with a huge amount of budget. No. एम्स में तो फर्स्ट टाइम ऐसे ही स्टार्ट किया है एनकेट का, पहले तो कभी थोड़ी हुआ है, 5 साल पहले तो कभी कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है इस तरह से कभी भी. तो अभी होपफुली ओवर टाइम, सो मे बी सम गुड एंड टेंजिबल प्रोडक्ट माइट कम. थैंक यू.
Just to add to this, in fact, DST का सपोर्टेड है श्री चित्रा तिरुनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल साइंसेज. वहाँ पर भी असिस्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी का सेंटर हैज़ बीन स्टार्टेड. So that is a beautiful place. That is the only place in the country where you have hospital as well as biomedical engineers in one place. So Niti Aayog is asking constantly to replicate that model in other parts of the country also. So that is a beautiful model to look at. So they work with industries, they have done so many technology transfers. So when engineers are placed in the hospital or in medical settings, they can really do wonders.
I have visited that. It's a very wonderful place. Trichy. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insightful address. Now I'd request Dr. Vishal Gandhi, founder and CEO, BioRx Ventures Advisors Private Limited, to kindly address the audience.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, PhD, for having me. And this is a topic that I'm not expert at, but I must talk about that. This topic has been a pillar of our institution for last 2 years. I'm a healthcare researcher, did a lot of work in pharma industry, then coming down to medical device, and within medical device, I identified assistive technology as a super growth sector. And by virtue of my work, we invest into startups and we understand the challenges that they face. And we have seen many startups in medical devices, they have been able to navigate the difficult path. But when we come to assistive technologies, we have seen, and I think all of you have contributed to deliberations, and good part is that we had Q&A here, and we feel that ecosystem for assistive technology is still ripening, and it needs to be addressed in the right way so that, the industry, assistive technology could be positioned for India, for the world, not just India for India, but India for the world. And good part is that all of you have given your opinion, and I want to thank, Dr. Agarwal, primarily because, she said that DST touches everybody, so it did touch me, and she did mention about one area called technology business incubation. So my PhD, initial leg of PhD was supported by DST, the first leg, and so my PhD was around how to measure the performance of technology business incubation. And I think that is where I felt that technologies are developed, but they are not taken to the market. And I think this area, particularly assistive technology, if the technologies are developed and they're not taken to the market, I think we will not be able to see the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, because some products which are so wonderful products to improve the quality of life for the patients who are disabled per se, right? If they are not made accessible, they are not made affordable, they're not made equitable, I think we will not be able to achieve a vision of what Prime Minister has said for 2047. So from that perspective, I want to share with you that, what are our views and how we are committed to assistive technology as a sector, and what kind of investments we have already done in this sector, and what are the kind of challenges we see, because we are a private investor, so we want to see that how the ROIs are generated. So, I'll talk a little bit about that, but I must say that Dr. Agarwal, that I was not even aware that a center within DST is doing such a wonderful work on social economic equity, which is so wonderful to know. But I think over a period of time, like last 2 years, since I've come across this subsector of healthcare assistive technologies, I've interacted with almost all the stakeholders, which is including AIMS to ICMR to DBT to everybody whosoever is involved in this ecosystem. And I think there is so much of focus, there's so much of, I would say, eagerness to really collaborate with each stakeholder. But the problem is, it is still very broken system. Scientists are working on developing technologies. There are distributors who are looking for better products. Hospitals are swamped with so much of work that the products do not actually get right patient enrollment. Now, when it comes to life, right, would you like to try a product which is not clinically validated, right? And I can give you an example, a company called Spurshmind, which we funded about 2.5 years ago, to recruit 100 patients in AIMS. It's taken them more than 2 years. Now, when you actually, the recruitment of a patient, and that too, this is not a very, very heavy trial. Look at the ecosystem. Now, if the patient recruitment is going to take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. In fact, I was talking to Dr. Suraj. He mentioned one of his trial is going for 6 years. Where is the product getting approved? If the product approval will take 7-10 years, industry will find it irrelevant, because by the time the technology has anyway moved leaps and ahead, and people are not caring about whether it's a Make in India product or whether it's actually a Make in India product or a Made in Spain product, doesn't matter. Product must deliver. And I think from an angle of India, I think it should be affordable. But if it is not getting there, then you will have to buy it. There are corporate social responsibility organizations today, which are actually funding such programs. And I'm happy to share that top 500, corporates, which are listed companies in India today, at least 80% of them are contributing to this goal of assistive technology, in fact, distribution of eyeglasses. Now, imagine such an important aspect of eyeglasses, right? But look at the alleviation of life, you know, the skill and the sustainability, right? And so it's a very, very heavy social sector, and I think the whole ecosystem needs to come together. Still, I feel that policies are made by one department, implementation happening across 5 departments, and interministerial coordination is a very big issue. And I think this sector, of course, pharma sector has evolved in last 50 years, and today we claim to be the pharmacy of world. Medical device, again, you know, our import dependence is still come down, right? It used to be 80% import about 10 years ago, but today we do only 60% import. But when it comes to assistive technologies, I think everything seems to be what ma'am was referring to, what we call as TRL, technology readiness levels. I think we are still struggling between 1 to 4. And if we don't move from 4 to 7 and develop products which are clinically validated so that you have a confidence of using those products, that this product is not just affordable. What's the point of just affordability? It has to have its efficacy, which is so superior that you say that it does give the same kind of impact, which is basically visual impact, that otherwise you would buy it from Ray-Ban. So I think that needs to be fixed. But intent is very high. I think, as ma'am said very clearly, that, you know, the focus of scientific research department, ICMR, you know, ICMR is doing great amount of work in that. And so, you know, all these incubation centers, she mentioned about incubation center. I'm actually a mentor to 80+ incubation centers in the country by virtue of being an expert in this area as a technology management professional. But I think everything is very dissected. Everything is silos, right? Even a person, I have seen, like somebody is working on a particular technology. Now, you know, you go to IIT Kanpur, you go to IIT Guwahati. IIT Kanpur and IIT Guwahati professors, they don't talk to each other. They have no idea what they are working on, and they feel that, you know, it's required because there is an industry need, there is a research paper which talks about it, but there is no coordination, and sometimes you'll end up getting into the redundant research, because if one fails, the other professor is also going to fail, because the technology underlying is same, right? So there is no sort of, I think, diligence. In our finance language, we call it commercial due diligence, like ma'am reflected need assessment. In our finance language, we call it commercial due diligence. So because if you are solving a problem, and if you're solving through a private infrastructure, I think you will make it happen, because there is a incentive for you to make it happen, because as a startup, your goal is to get returns on equity, so the investor. So I think all this needs to be fixed very clearly, and PhD chamber possibly could write a position paper how India could be hub for assistive technologies, for not only for India but for the world. And I think this is a position definitely India can take, which I think we have missed in many other things. So there should be far more consultations, and having people like, the two people, participating, who are also sort of, important stakeholders coming, sharing their experiences, is much more, I would say, fruitful. And I think each and every point you guys made, and just to tell you, I didn't get your name, buddy, but I think when any government makes a policy, and I've had a good contribution to India's biotechnology policy, along with Kapil Sibal sir when he was a science and technology minister, whenever you make a public policy, right, there is always a consultation which happens across all the stakeholders. And I have no idea why, maybe sometime, we don't get to know. But trust me, public policies, consultations are put across to all the stakeholders. It's up to us also to be vigilant that how we, as an important stakeholder, which is user, we must make ourselves visible to them, that our opinion matters. And assistive technology development without user feedback means nothing. We are not going to do anything. So I think your contribution coming here, sharing your views, is very, very important. And please make your presence felt across all the channels, because the way this works, the whole industry works, interministerial coordination is a challenge. But you got to identify, there's no single window, whatever sector you talk about, right? When you talk of biotech sector or a pharma sector, there are 4-5 ministries controlling it, right? And everybody just keeps blaming each other. At the end of the day, you still import everything what you need to import, right? And we claim to be the pharmacy of the world, but imagine what actually happened in COVID. The raw material prices for pharma products went up so high that, you know, we had to create our own infrastructure through the PLI, to create raw material. India had to import so much of raw material. China jacked up the prices by 4x, and as an India country put together, we just cannot afford such high expensive medicines, right? And generic is a big area. I think assistive technology and generics have to go together. And next big challenge for the country is actually going to be managing 800 people, million health. All of us are in next 10, 15 years going to be generic. Right? Today, every policymaker says that we are the youth population. That's our demographic advantage. But I think soon we will have demographic disadvantage, and such initiatives will certainly help in catalyzing the right infrastructure which is required for providing affordable, accessible, and equitable healthcare to 1.4 billion people in the country. As on today, this number will keep adding, but I think definitely all stakeholders need to meet to address these issues, and assistive technology can enable us to position ourselves as the leader for the world, which we have missed in medical device, which we have missed in pharma, which we have missed in healthcare, in delivery in general. And I think it's an appropriate time for each one of us to think how we can contribute to the development of indigenization of development of assistive technology. I think I have many more points to talk. In fact, I want to share that how we have supported startups in this area. A very interesting company called SpurshMind, Remote Physio, doing great amount of work in teleradiology, telepathology, you know, neurorehabilitation, utilizing AR, VR in neurorehab and serving the patients of cerebral palsy, and the clinical trial is going on. Doctors are benefiting. Physiotherapists, you know, as a department, I think they were always underweighted. But now we have seen that all the products that we are supporting, right, at the startups, you know, PMR department is really looking for solutions. They are saying that we want these solutions, but still there is a lot of bureaucracy to deal with in the public healthcare structure or a private healthcare structure. But I think private healthcare structures are more amenable to introduce such exotic products, which actually improves the quality of life, because the outcome is clear, the payment structure is clear, and people are not dependent upon reimbursement schemes. And I think soon we will see that assistive technologies are also going to be undergoing insurance reimbursement plans. So I have not much clarity that how insurance is seen as in assistive technology, but I think if that can happen in assistive technology, that will really unlock the overall position of India, also quality of life for an individual, and to our final goal of Viksit Bharat 2047. I can speak a lot about this because this is what we've been doing for 2.5 years, but in the interest of everybody's time, I would put a pause, and during the Q&A session, happy to interact with each one of you. Otherwise, I'm pretty much available on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at Dr. Vishal Gandhi BioRx. I think feel free to write to me anytime. I'll be very happy to support you. My mission is to provide 1.4 billion people accessible, affordable, equitable healthcare to this country. And thank you very much for the opportunity, PhD Chambers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gandhi, for that insightful address. Now we'll be moving on to the next panelist who will be joining us virtually, Mr. Haneem Bagchandani, founder, Torchit Electronics Private Limited. He's a social innovator and entrepreneur who is passionate about empowering people with disabilities with the power of independence. His work has garnered national and international claims, one of which being National Award for Innovation from President of India for making affordable assistive solutions. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Bagchandani.
Can you hear me? Hello everyone, namaste, good afternoon. So it's my really a privilege to address this session, and I'm glad to speak one of the distinguished panel, Suraj sir, Anita ma'am, Vishal sir, and many other dignitaries. And firstly, I apologize. Let me share my screen first. what actually we do at Torture. So there are billion population who need 2 billion assistive devices. So there's a huge demand, like as Suraj sir and ma'am and even Vishal sir spoke about. And what the challenge which we are facing is like 90% of the population are coming from low and middle income families or the countries. So they cannot afford the products available in the Western countries, or even they afford, those solutions are not available. So this is one of the biggest challenge which we are focusing by our persons with disability users across India. So this is what dependency, lack of inclusion, unemployment, and eventually they become a liability, like majority of become a liability. So that's why you cannot see visually impaired or locomotive impaired or hearing impaired users moving around in day-to-day because of we don't have infra, we don't have the proper assistive devices, we don't give a proper respect to them. So this is what we have to change our mindset first. And I will say the first line, and I will also conclude in the last. They have the ability, they just need a devices, tools, so they can come out and they can perform in a sighted world or in a regular world. So this is what I have doing for last 7 to 8 years, and we started with torture innovations, like we make innovation solution. Apart from that, we have a marketplace, like under one roof we have more than 700-800. And it is not just online e-commerce. It's like Amazon. It's like Amazon for accessibility. And apart from that, we also provide skilling, training, and Torture Foundation. So this is entire ecosystem which we are covering at Torture, and we started with our first product, Sati, which helped a visually impaired person to go from one to two place without bumping into the obstacles independently. And I have seen our one of the user Ashutosh is using the same device. So like this we have more than 500,000 users across the country, and across the 40 countries we are exporting. So this help a visually impaired person to walk if there's any comes obstacle, it will vibrate. So it tells there's some obstacles. Yeah. So this is the world's most accurate and the most affordable product. And it has 3 different modes: indoor, outdoor, and upper areas. And if you charge once, it can work for 30 days. So even the countries like Zimbabwe or Malawi, or even our own India like Nagaland or even Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, where electricity even today it's scared. So if you charge once, it will work for 30 days. So then we launched our AI glasses. Now we have the wireless version as well. So this AI glasses help a visually impaired person to visualize. People say with this AI glasses they can able to see, but I want to correct them. They can visualize. They can able to get the audio description of whatever happening in front of them. And apart from that, this is the 2020, 2022 kind of thing, and we are right now in 2026. What we have made it in AI, and recently we had India AI Summit, and we were in top 20 companies of AI in the world, list issued by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. And apart from that, we are in top 1, like first top company in AI for good segment. So why we have made it in top 1? Because of the recognition. So Jyoti AI, it's not only read the text, but also read the images as well. So it will give a visual description of the images. Imagine if you are reading a newspaper, there are a lot of images. But regular OCR, regular AI glasses will ignore the images. Just read the headings and just read the content. But our AI glasses will read the images, even the tabular format. If there's a table, it will maintain the same structure of the tabular, so they can perform very well in the employment segment. Like they can get the employment, and they can perform in banking sector, railway sector, and many other sectors they are performing. And the main part, it also allows a visually impaired user to go into detail of the mathematical formulas, or even a science formulas, or charts, or diagrams. So this is the advanced OCR which this session is about AI. So this is why I am focused more on AI, and we have made it indigenous. in India, and this is, and you're talking about Meta AI classes. I'm happy to share in Meta AI classes also we are providing our own APIs. Like we as a social startup company providing our APIs to Meta glasses. So their glasses can be useful to visual users. So this is what we are taking this forward to the accessibility and inclusion. So apart from that, we have more than 40,000 lives got impacted with this AI classes, and more than 4,500 users are working in the banking sector, healthcare sector, and even the railway sector. And they are performing their tasks at par with the sighted person. So this is what I said earlier. They have the ability. They just need tools. Like even as Suraj sir said, classes helping us to come out our difficulties. So these assistive devices help them in their difficulties, so they can able to read, they can able to perform very well. And the main part, more than 1,500 students gave the exam without scribing the board. This last board. So usually people are giving exams. So this is about the dignity. कि मैं अपना काम खुद से कर सकता हूँ. And the same, we have thousands of stories, like employees are performing in the kirana stores, even in banking, even in the visually impaired. There's in second image you can see a visually impaired teacher teaching English and social science in a sighted school in Rajasthan, and he is able to read the document, regular document, not in braille. And like this, we have such many students who are giving exams and reading. Like it is a perfect example of inclusive education. So we have invited by the Ministry of Education. We are working closely with the Ministry of Education to make every schools to be inclusive. So this is the life they are living with more dignity and more independence. As I said, like we have the context-aware OCR and we have the advanced version of AI classes and AI reader for the education and higher education purpose. And we have made many libraries accessible, many classrooms, AI-enabled inclusive classrooms we have made it. So we are making accessible infra as well. So in India right now we have adopted more than 60 plus schools. So we are training the teachers about the AI, how they can include more visually impaired and more dyslexic, more low vision, and even more multi-state kind of users. And apart from that, visually impaired, we have also done AI for sign language. Whatever I will speaking, it will convert into the sign language through Shruti AI software. And the same way we have the augmented alternative communication, AAC, which is also AI powered with Indian dialects and with a lot of Indian emotions. Right now, our children who have autism or who have severe cerebral palsy who cannot communicate very well, they are depending on the products available from the Western countries like US, Germany, or the Saudi Arabia. Those are super expensive. Let me give you the context of expensive and the affordability what we are talking about. So जो AAC softwares UAE या तो फिर जर्मनी से आते थे, उनका yearly subscription is more than $1,200. Minimum is $1,200. Like India का 1,10,000. और हम 50,000 में 40,000 में वो टेम्पलेट के साथ सॉफ्टवेयर लाइफ टाइम देते हैं. सो एक साल का खर्चा 1,10,000 और हमारा टेम्पलेट के साथ खर्चा 40,000 लाइफ टाइम. So this is what we are taking the affordability to the next level. And the same with AI glasses. Suraj sir said that जो बाहर की glasses हैं, this cost $4,000. Convert to Indian rupees, 3 lakh रुपए, 2 lakh रुपए. And our devices is just 20,000. So this is the affordability which we are talking, 1/10 of the affordability. And as I said, we transform the schools, we transform the inclusive schools, and this is what we do to make India for the accessibility and the inclusion का global hub, Assistive Technolcgy का global hub को बने. And what is the impact? The impact is the reading accuracy increase, higher education got increased, school attendance got increased, and being more independently, they are living with more dignity. And as I said, we have started with Enable Mart, which is Amazon for persons with disability or accessibility. So we have more than 700-800 solutions, And as Anita ma'am mentioned, there's so many products are available in the lab, but cannot come to the like on the ground and impact it. So we have such around 5 or 10 examples which we have took the products and we, because we have the industry connections, we have the NGO connections, we have the user connection, we have the government connections as well. So we are taking the product to the market and we are impacting thousands of lives through those lab products. Like many incubation has such kind of startups who are making some products but cannot able to take this forward. So we again tortured alone cannot do everything, but we need this kind of partnerships like the system ecosystem, so we can make India accessibility ka global hub. And this is the online mart which I talk about. We have more than 37 centers across 35 plus centers across 8 countries like even Kenya, Gulf, UAE, Saudi, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia. In India, like we have majorly plants. And this is our first center which we inaugurated in 2024 by the commissioner and other dignitaries. And this is our like around 10th or 12th center which is inaugurated by our President of India in NIPH, Dehradun. And again, our Delhi Gurgaon Center got inaugurated by the Vice President in the presence of our Secretary Sir and many other dignitaries. And recently, 3 days back, we opened our 38th center in Shankar Nethralaya, which is one of the largest eye hospitals in Global South, like in southern India at least. They have 12 centers in 5 states. So this Shankar Nethralaya we have inaugurated, and what I want to say is like they are not the beneficiaries, they are the users. They have the complete right of training, warranty, service and everything. So that's why we have created this resource centers so they can go try. And this is not only for them. These resource centers are for everyone, like college going students, corporates, government officers, even the teachers, they're not aware. Even the doctors, they're not aware. So these centers are creating an awareness. So what we are doing in the nutshell, creating awareness, availability, readily available as Anita ma'am said, accessibility, the providing training, providing warranty, providing user support and everything. And the fourth is affordability. So the product coming from the, like even the products are coming from China or US, they're not costing 4,000, they're costing 3,000. But why it is increased? Because of the middleman. So we are cutting that middleman and charges. So we are making it more super affordable. So this is what we are doing, awareness, availability, accessibility and affordability, so it get acceptance by the users. So this is what we are doing. So we partner with more than 1,000 NGOs, 70 plus corporates. We are blessed with 100 plus national and international accolades. We have the impact dashboard who are using and who are not using. We have a team of visually impaired who call them if they are not using, why you are not calling. So we are very young team. And with some very great advisors, mentors on board, and we are taking this forward to make India as a AT hub for the globe. So we have impacted 2 million lives in last 8 years. In next 4 years, by 2030, we want to impact, not impact, impact is a very big word. We want to touch 10 million families, we want to touch 10 million lives by providing our assistive devices. So this is what our goal is, and you can scan this QR code, you can get the resource book, you can get my contact numbers and other things, or you can click a photo. And this is what we are doing, like we are building that ecosystem, we are building that infrastructure for accessibility. And at last, I just say one thing, like many of us wearing the glasses to correct our vision, to correct our difficulties. So we have the ability, right? These glasses are just a bridge. So like these assistive devices are just a bridge to them to get more independent, get more equal opportunities. So they have the great asset, and we are using a very, very big asset right now in India. Like we have more than 32 million, like 3 crore से ज़्यादा लोग हैं हमारे इंडिया में, according to all census. हम उतना potential miss कर रहे हैं to make India a better India. So my request all the industry leaders, all the startup, all the ecosystem providers, Vishal sir and Anita ma'am, Suraj sir, and other dignitaries, how we can work together and create more inclusive environment for everyone. At least not for the world, but at least for India. So this is what I just share my 2 cents here. And thank you so much for this amazing opportunity and this
Thank you so much, Haniban Bakchanani ji, for the address. And now I'd like to call Professor Dr. Sushil Chandra, former senior scientist, DRDO, ex-scientist, head CCML, INMAS, DRDO. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity only at the last moment, because I had missed this email. Yesterday only I did talk to Dr. Jitendra, and then I'm able to share my thoughts. So I'm especially thankful of PhD Chamber of Commerce as well as Dr. Jitendra. Because my introduction is also given from DRDO, I'm sure many of you must be knowing Dr. Kalam. He was more popular as a caliper man than a missile man. So he was trying to work on lots of spin-off technologies. So lots of technologies which are developed for defense purposes, but how to utilize it for others, including assistive part. Another one, because my earlier panelist, she quoted about cochlear implant, because I was in first phase involved in cochlear implant, and that time AIMS Professor Jaina, he was also in touch, and then we were interacting because I was a man of signal processing. In between, our last speaker, as he said about ecosystem, I really appreciate that if there is a lacking or if there is an effort required, is to create an ecosystem, because as she also said it, 3 to 4 TRL level, technology readiness level, DRDO, because we have to work on the projects which have to be applied. So we start our journey from 0 to reaching up to 9 level and all. That's why now our defense startup ecosystem is also progressing well in India. Coming to the assistive technology part, I'll try to finish well within time. But I'll try to tell you journey how this started. I was lucky enough because Professor Goa, he was a biomedical engineer in IIT Delhi, who is the first man. For him, parliamentary approval was given because he was an engineer, but he did his MBBS from AIMS. So he was the subject matter expert in Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Coincidentally, he was supposed to shift to IIT Kharagpur. I got a benefit of that, and I became a subject matter expert over there. And till then, I was only a biomedical engineer. I was not working any way in the field of assistive technology. But then once I became an expert, I was there on that panel for 6 to 7 years. I realized that least work has been done not only in India, but throughout the world related to mental rehabilitation. In addition to all 5 senses, whether we are talking about visual, hearing, physical, whatever, blah, blah. But the least has been done in mental rehabilitation. So I got interested how to work on MR part. But because my salary was paid from defense budget, I had to work for defense. So I tried to find out an area in which I can work. And that's how my journey in relation to cognition. Because cognition was an area in which for soldiers, cognitive enhancement is required. But for our differently able people or any people who are suffering from maybe a temporary decline, it is cognitive rehabilitation. So I started my journey related to that project. I am proud for my DRDO, not for me, and my team. My team was also to create an ecosystem between IIT professors, multiple institutional professors, students. Because in our DRDO earlier, students were not allowed to do the intern part. I'm talking way back 30 years before, but because of different reason. But then I started my journey in 1997 where students were majorly involved in that. Now coming to the two dimensions of our work. We worked on technology as well as holistic. So in case if we are working on brain development, how to use meditation, music, these kinds of Indian ethos which are very strong enough to improve our cognitive rehabilitation or enhancement part. Another one is technology. Like my team has been working on virtual reality, augmented reality since more than 2 decades. Team related to AI ML, which is a buzzword today, we have been working since last more than again 2 decades. Earlier it was more popular as machine learning rather than AI part and all. Now coming to assistive technology, I'll give you few examples. For example, if you are seeing the photo on this side, left side, it's a combination of human and AI. And if we talk about assistive technology, which is equally useful for abled people other than our differently abled people. So my meaning is to convey is that whatever technology which is being utilized is, that's why our additional secretary, she used the word inclusive. So lots of these work. There I'll give you one example related to, again 27 years before, I came across with one US firm, I'll speak in Hindi now, कि उन्होंने जुगाड़ के लिए काम किया था, और काम किया था उनका, if somebody is working on, suppose let me say lathe, and if he is working on lathe, this part is, because of some operational mistake, is amputated. Then his whole Rojgar is over. So how to do that? So they were working on those kinds of a jugaad development only, whether it is for leg, for hand, for anything. And that was minting money company at that time. So I'll really appreciate in case if we are able to create systems by developing these jugaads, we can definitely work on that part like anything. Now coming to the cognitive decline. I'll say that there are temporary and permanent. Like we know about attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. We know about depression, anxiety, schizophrenia. Lots of these cognitive decline also come into differently abled category. I'm sure many of you might be knowing about it. But in these areas also, AI enabled lots of platforms, AR enabled lots of platforms do help a lot. And I'm again happy to listen my earlier speaker. They are doing wonderful work to create that kind of an ecosystem. Congratulations to him. Now coming to the different part, which I normally say that once we are talking about AI, can we be smart enough to use AI? Because AI is going to create some kinds of challenges also to us. For example, if we are using only AI without thinking about our HI is human intelligence, what will happen to human intelligence part? It should not happen that we convert temporary or later permanent on cognitive decline. So that's all. Now I am working with one of the startup known as Wisdom of Mind. You can surf it. We are trying starting from school children to the level of our, I am also in now senior citizen category, so our old age people to work for their dementia, to work for their Alzheimer and Parkinson related, but my area is only related to brain. And in that Wisdom of Mind also what we are working on, again we are using our Indian ethos, the things which are available with us in our Shastras, and we are trying to do that. I'll use the technical word biomechanical system. On a lighter side, मैं आप लोगों से एक थोड़ा सा एक्सरसाइज कराने का कोशिश करता हूँ. In next 2 minutes, I think I'll finish my session also. अगर मैं आपसे कहता हूँ if you rotate your hand this way, yeah, he has heard about it, this way, if I say this way, you will be able to do that. But this means you are using one part of your brain. आप ये करते हैं ये वाला, ये करते हैं ये वाला, but अगर इसको इस तरीके से और इसको इस तरीके से करते हैं, that means we are trying to use both the brains simultaneously. And that's there is a portion known as corpus callosum in the brain. So how to work both the brains simultaneously, then we becomes innovative, then we becomes creative, then we are purely logistics also. That means how we can work together on human intelligence as well as artificial intelligence together. With that, as I promised, because my work in the last period of my DRDO tenure was on human-machine teaming. And human-machine teaming का assistive technology में last example मैं आपको देता हूँ. CSIO was working on exoskeleton, DRDO was working on exoskeleton. No doubt the applications were different. But exoskeleton is actually a machine which has to help or integrate with the person who is differently abled. So how his human system as a whole, that means even muscular and structural phenomena, including brain, should align with the machine in such a way so that they can perform or they can enhance their abilities. So with that, I think I'll stop it here by concluding it. My conclusion is only two messages. One is we should use brilliantly AI, but not to compromise on human intelligence. And in case if we want to work on human intelligence part also, there also this AI does a wonderful tool. The last line is, there is a person who is a Chinese one known as Ning Zhang. He has been working in the area, which I also claim my area, known as brain informatics. कहने का मतलब AI को हम use करें to understand human information processing system better. Okay, how our brain works, how our senses and brain integration works and all. But then finally, if we understand that, how to use the same processing system in our AI to work still better. And then again, how to work our brain better. So it's a closed loop system, and that area is known as brain informatics. So using technology, using our Indian knowledge system, how we can improve our cognitive decline was the area of work which I am addressing, which is quite useful, especially related to brain part. Thank you.
Now I'd request Dr. Jatinder Singh sir to please felicitate our wonderful speakers.
So I think like after listening to the domain experts, I think everybody is enlightened in the field of not only assistive technology but emerging technologies and also AI. So let's give them a big round of applause for their deliberations. WHO's 5P framework to strengthen access to assistive technology. We have with us Dr. Anjali Agarwal, founder of Samarthyam. Madam, may I request you to kindly come on the dais, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Dr. Anjali Agarwal. So, ma'am, thank you very much for being a part of this very pertinent conference, and we had a great deal of discussion on how we can use AI in terms of creating more enabling ecosystem for the PWDs, and we had great discussion on the cognitive intelligence and many other facets. I will request you to kindly give your perspective on WHO's 5P framework so that everybody is enlightened and we can understand what WHO is actually doing in terms of mainstreaming the PWDs. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. By the time my laptop gets set, I just thought I'll introduce myself. And I'm a user. I think I'm very loud and clear. I'm a user. And when I say I'm a user, everything rotates around me. Whatever you do, whatever you design, whatever you create, whatever you research, everything has to be user-centric. And here when we say user-centric, I definitely mean that one needs to understand nothing without us, right? So I was just hearing the talk in the earlier session. This is kar dijiye, please. The mouse is not working. You put it down and then just wo center mein aayega. The picture is gone. Take this, put it down. So when everything is user-centric, then you design for the best, isn't it? I'll just give you one example before I begin with my, the topic that I have been given. The 5 P's of the WHO also talks about user, the people. And I'm going to go a deep down into it and unpack the layers of exclusion when you don't have the people or the users as the one that needs to come on board. इसको सेंटर में ले आइए नीचे, वो हिल गया है. उसको हटाओ, माउस को हटा के ऐसे करो. हाँ, just ऐसे करो. I'm going to give you a couple of images along with some video clippings just to show how a user gets more empowered if the systems, the technology, the assistive devices and assistive technology is designed for them. I'll just take half a second because I think the mouse is also not working. There's some problem here. This is first wali slide kariye, the very first slide. Isko घुमा के इधर लाइए. हाँ, that's okay. Second पे आइए. The third one has moved. The third one has moved, yeah. आप उनको दीजिए। थर्ड वाली स्लाइड का सिर्फ वो चेक कर दीजिए, इसको हटा दीजिए। बी हियर, थर्ड वाली। नो नो, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट, ये हिल गया है, स्लाइड हिल गया है। अब वापस उस पे जाइए, वापस मोड पे जाइए प्लीज़। हाँ, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड पे आइए, थर्ड। हाँ, इसका सिर्फ वो हिल गया, पिक्चर बीच में ले आइए, पिक्चर बीच में ले आइए, दैट्स इट, या दैट्स इट, टॉप टॉप टॉप, सेंटर ऑफ द स्लाइड, ऊपर, थोड़ा ऊपर, थोड़ा और, बस, थैंक यू, दैट्स इट, या फर्स्ट करना है। विच वन इज द फर्स्ट? Alright, wonderful. I think there are 2-3 messages very clear about it, that we need access so that we can continue with our work on our own. So the WHO 5P framework actually looks at equitable access to assistive technology, and I'll just go through it very quickly because the message that I want to give is very different from what I'm showing. Yes, it is very different from what I'm showing because it's going to give you a starking understanding on the statistics. There's a big global access gap. Whatever has been said right now, this has been developed, those things are being researched, there are people with disabilities around in the country. So if I talk about the statistics of number of people with disabilities within country, anybody has a fair idea? Not the 2011 census. Yes, Ashutosh. Perfect. Just to add to it that there are 20% population of country of India are with disabilities. So what is the current population of India? Anyone? 148 crores and more. So if you make 20% of that, that means more than 30 crore people with disabilities are there in India, and we are invisible, isn't it? Are we visible? No. Are the things designed for us? No. Because if we are visible, but we are the majority who would use an assistive technology, an assistive device. But if you don't put the user into the center, you won't be able to give the right kind of design. Now what this data says, the WHO 5P says that there are 1 out of 6 persons will require an assistive technology. आप सब में भी, हम लोग जो मोबाइल फ़ोन यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उस मोबाइल फ़ोन के अंदर हम देख के बात करते हैं, right? We see the number, we dial the number. But think about a person with visual impairment. They will use a screen reading software, and that is assistive technology. मोबाइल सेट वही है, चाहे वो एंड्रॉयड हो चाहे आपका आईफोन हो, उसमें सिर्फ हमें एक सॉफ्टवेयर डालना है जो उनके लिए कंपैटिबल होगा. सिमिलरली पीपल हु आर विद हियरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट, सिर्फ पर्सन्स विद हियरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट नहीं, हमारे ग्रैंडफादर्स, ग्रैंडमदर्स, दादा दादी, नाना नानी, एज के साथ सबको सुनने में, दिखने में, बोलने में, चलने में, याद रखने में दिक्कतें आएंगी. और उसके लिए असिस्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी जब हम बात करते हैं, तब हम ये कहते हैं कि 2.5 billion people need one or more assistive products, right? Alexa, I wish there was an Alexa here and I would say, just set up my PPT, right? Alexa says, yes madam, in 1 minute. That is assistive technology. हम सब use कर रहे हैं. Google, आजकल तो हम emails भी AI में type करते हैं और फिर भेजते हैं. So that word बिल्कुल constant, बिल्कुल correct, बिल्कुल apt रहे और जो पढ़ने वाले को लगे वाह. So if everything is done by AI, the users cannot be forgotten. And the current data, it says that 1 billion people are denied access to assistive technology. It's a big number. Now, coming to the thought that what is assistive technology that can, shift from a medical device to foundational human enablers. It is very important. Our earlier panel talked about, extensive research and assistive technology use in medical terms. मैं आप सबसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूँगी, and it is very important. अगर आप ये समझ जाएंगे तो सब समझ जाएंगे. Am I a person who's using a wheelchair, a patient, or a person using a wheelchair, person living with disability? कितने लोग कहते हैं patient? थोड़ा confusion है. अगर है तो कोई बात नहीं, it's okay. Person living with disability? Absolutely, very correct. So if somebody has a medical challenge, I would use the word medical surgery, or if somebody has just gone to a doctor to check, get a test done. And if I use a wheelchair and I go there, the first thing, madam, aap to patient akele kaise aa gaye? You should be escorted by somebody. Now, if you just distinguish between a patient and a person living with disability, it will clear all your doubts. You design for a person who's living with disability. I might be a sports person, I might be a singer, I might be an artist, I might be a person who's running as a member in Niti Aayog, and that is what my current profession is, beside running Samarthyam. So if given a chance, yes, I do make policies, but if given a chance, I can run the country alongside our leaders. Now, the Viksit Bharat is all about user-centric. And if we design mobility aid, physical aid, sensory aids, digital and communication system, taking all the users who are sitting here and who are outside this hall, I think we will do a wonderful job. So the 5 Ps of WHO says people first, followed by products, and then by provision. Then we are talking about personals who are using those products or who are designing those products, who are trained to be guiding the persons who are using that product, and finally the policy. So if you look at this cycle, this is very different from what we have been talking about. We design policy first and then try to fit the people into it. This particular 5P says design for the people who comes first and then move forward. So just quickly going through this cycle, I will just talk about the system centers entirely on the users' empowerment and co-design with them. So please do not forget the word co-design, and I would also request Phdcci, because Phdcci has invited me and I'm very thankful that they've got the users on board. So please do have the co-designing message sent out to all the speakers and all the people who are designing for us. The key elements are very clear, rights-based, not medical-based or social-based or charity-based. These are the models we have forgotten now. The first act of the country came in 1995 that talks about the full participation and equal opportunity for persons with disabilities. And that particular perspective now says right-based, person-centered approach, nothing without us. It also talks about inclusion of persons with disabilities in planning, product designing, selection, and evaluation. It says gender responsive and age inclusive services. Wonderful. What is gender responsive? I had the opportunity of doing a research way back in 2007 for the products that are prepared, which are developed by the Government of India, the organization which is very close to our heart, Alimco. And we did this research with grassroots women with disabilities who were living in villages. And they said, ma'am, if you happen to talk to Alimco, please tell them that the wheelchairs and the tricycles which are being designed are designed with the adult man in mind, not a woman in mind. What difference does it make? A woman, if you see me, I'm not as big as a men's size, not a 6 feet tall man. Ergonomics, anthropometrics completely change for us. So if a woman is made to fit into a tricycle which is designed for a man, they actually acquired a lot of other further deformities. The height of the seating space, the leg deformity, the spinal cord deformity, and even the movement of the head. So the hands are much bigger for a man rather than a woman. So all these things were not taken into consideration. So if you don't design for the user, it could be a child, it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a senior citizen who are going to, for employment purposes using a tricycle or a motorized tricycle. we have to design for them. And adaptations are very important. So it says that capacity building for caregivers and addressing stigma awareness gaps, that not one size fit all, but adaptation to the user is very important. And it also goes to the product. That's the second part of it. And the product says that context appropriate technology drives sustainable use. One, that we want our products to be sustainable. Two, we want that it is to be adaptable to all conditions, whether it is rural, semi-urban or urban. And three, that we want that our product should have a life cycle approach, starting from the child to the senior citizen, but it also has to have a very important part, which is the after sales service. Most of the products we pick up from the shelves, right? They are in the stores, we just want a walking cane or walking stick or a walker, we just pick it up. But the after sales service is totally missing. What happens once the walker is not in use, it's been damaged, it needs repairing. So all these things falls into the product category. The third part is the provision. The provision comes with delivering a seamless continuum of care and physical access, from the procurement to the service center to the assessment and fitting, and finally from the training and follow-up. The fourth is personal, which is very important, and I'm going to take 1 minute on this, that people who design for us has to be trained to design for us. The people who are looking at the systemic action, they need to include disability studies into the academia, into the curriculum, into the product design, into the medical facilities, into research and everything, so that it encompasses the user-centric understanding, needs and accessibility requirements. And then finally, the ecosystem example is to train each and everyone, whether they are people from healthcare facilities, frontline workers, or anybody who is looking at wheelchair assessment. I would say even the audits of the equipments are very important. So I'll just give you one example and then I'll move on. I was supposed to get myself checked at one of a renowned hospital of Delhi, I don't want to name it, and I went there for my breast cancer checking. The machine that I was offered was something that was built for people to, for the women to stand and get checked. For women like me who's using a wheelchair, who could not even stand for a single second, how will I get myself checked? And it is my right to get checked for any kind of test to safeguard my health. And you won't believe, the lady who was taking care of me in that clinical situation, she said, मैम 1 मिनट के लिए तो आपको खड़ा होना ही पड़ेगा जब तक आपकी मशीन आपको चेक करेगी. I said, मैं खड़ी नहीं हो सकती. मैडम मैं आपको 4 आदमी दे देती हूँ. I think women who are here can understand that I have to be topless to get checked. और 4 आदमी मेरे साथ कैसे खड़े हो सकते हैं? So 4 आदमी हमें कब ज़रूरत पड़ती है? I'll stop here. So I just want to take you through one of a very important and beautiful, heart, memorable episode that I had. I don't know why I'm talking about in midst of this, medical talks that we just had. Ranakpur Jain Temple at Rajasthan. I'm a travel buff. I've been to 35 countries in the world. I've from Ladakh to Kanyakumari and beyond Andaman and Nicobar Islands. I've been there. So I went to this temple just out of curiosity because I heard a lot about its beautiful engravings, and it's it's like you have to move this mouse because there's a movie. Quickly, to see. Click it on the. So this particular the carvings that were there, they were all over the temple, on the pillar, on the roof, and then it was, like I was given an assistive device, which was a wheelchair that could climb the steps. And with the help of this wheelchair, I was transferred from my personal wheelchair to this wheelchair, and it took me around the entire temple. And the best part of it was the person who was moving was a local, a temple management person, and he took me around very beautifully, and I'm going to showcase that particular, It's not going to that. Yes, now you can just come over that. Ye wala first wala, left hand side. Yes. So this is a device which is assistive device to be used in places where there are steps and no ramps can be provided because of its heritage value, but leaving no one behind. The experience of a traveler like me was completely overwhelming, awesome, because I could go around each and every place and check the beautiful carvings of the temple. The next one. So if you see this, there's a cushion which I've kept under my leg because the wheelchair was not designed for my height. But having been very tempted, I said, okay, I'll go with the cushion. But the second thing, when I came out of the temple, I gave the management this understanding that you should have two of these devices, one for a women's size, another for a men's size. It makes so much of a, going around comfortable. Thank you. That's it. So I'm just putting up the cost of fragmentation, which I always say the cost of exclusion is more than the cost of inclusion. And the process is more important than the outcome. The outcome could be a beautiful AI-driven assistive technology, but if the user is not taken care of, then the process fails. So the fragmentation fails if the system minus people, if the system minus products, or the system minus provision, personnel, and policy. And we need to understand that the kind of assistive device, the kind of assistive technology that we used, it also helps us in reducing stigma. It increases awareness, mass awareness, and it also adds to the unsafe technology use. And more important, which I really want to highlight, is that sometimes the projects are not funded well. Sometimes you don't get the user's perspective. Sometimes you don't get it on the sustainable record. Then we are putting in the public money, the taxpayers' money, and the whole thing comes into a fragmentation that failure is not accepted. Now, just finally closing with the last slide, accessible public procurement is very important. When you design your systems, even for the patients or people living with disabilities, just think about your procurement system has accessibility in mind for a child, for a woman, for a man, and for people with aging processes. The community-based services are very important. You talk to the last person on the pyramid, which is a person who is living in a village without any technical understanding, but the person will be able to tell you what he wants or she wants. Indigenous innovation, the example that I just showed you from the temple, they did the innovation, they got this particular stair climbing wheelchair from Ahmedabad, locally designed. The person was trained, locally trained, nothing rocket science. It's not that something is imported or some person from outside India is coming to train them, nothing like that. And finally, the digital accessibility part of it, which is very important, that we should have our infrastructure designed, our equipments designed in a way that the digital empowerment, which we are looking at Viksit Bharat in a big way, looks at the 30 crore people who are there but not visible. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, PhD, once again. And these are our numbers and email IDs. We are very much on social media in the LinkedIn. You can search me, ANJLEEAGARWAL, Anjali Agarwal, spelled little differently. And we're happy to connect with you at any point of time on any of your processes and your research work. Thank you so much. This one, the pharma contact? Yes, it's there. I think they have disconnected it from there. Just check. Yahan par aa rahi hai. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
How does the Niti Aayog help people with disabilities? Not help, I should use assist.
So in Niti Aayog, as a member of the civil society organization under the standing committee, There are around 7-8 organizations. For me, I handle accessibility and disability as one of the portfolio. I've been associated with this with Niti Aayog since 2017, and Niti Aayog is very much proactive in getting the users with disabilities feedback, whether they are children, adults, or women or men, and trans people as well. And the second part, which is very important, is that we are trying to bridge the gap between the policy and implementation. And it's not just about the aspirational district, but beyond it. So our work is also to connect with the different ministries to have a convergence and collaboration within the ministries, not just the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, but across all ministries to have an intersectionality, accessibility, disability combinations. I hope I answered your question.
I have one more question, like how can an individual with disability help Niti Aayog? So it ultimately individual पे आती है बात, right? मतलब जो भी NGOs बने हैं वो individual के लिए बने हैं, right? मतलब जो लास्ट पर्सन तक कैसे पहुँचना चलिए वो अलग बात है, पर लास्ट पर्सन जो है वो नीति आयोग को किस तरह से हेल्प कर सकता है ताकि जो चीज़ें हैं वो अच्छे से इम्प्लीमेंट हो सके, क्योंकि नीति आयोग है वो सेंट्रल लेवल पे काम कर रहा है, जो एक्चुअल पर्सन है वो ग्राउंड पे है, उसको पता है कितनी पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंट हो रही है, कितनी पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंट नहीं हो रही, क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें तो पेपर में रह जाती है।
बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने। मैंने इसीलिए आपसे यही कहा आशुतोष कि मैं समर्थ्यम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से बिलोंग करती हूँ, इट्स एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़, और नीति आयोग ने खुद स्टैंडिंग कमेटी बनाई थी, CSO स्टैंडिंग कमेटी, जिसमें हम लोगों को बुलाया गया था और हम लोग का सिलेक्शन हुआ था, उसमें हम लोगों को फिर नीति आयोग मेंबर लिया गया। हमारा काम यही है कि हम पॉलिसी गैप को ब्रिज करें। तो लास्ट पर्सन, जैसे आपने कहा, जो पर्सन्स ग्राउंड लेवल पे हैं उनके साथ पॉलिसीज़ को कनेक्ट करें और पॉलिसी उनके लिए बने, ना कि लोग पॉलिसी के लिए बने। सो ये जो ब्रिज है ये हम करते हैं। और सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है जो मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगी कि इसमें अलग अलग तरह की ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, जो जैसे सेव द चिल्ड्रन है, अक्षय पात्र है, जो अलग अलग चीज़ों पे काम करते हैं। तो मेरे पास जो पोर्टफोलियो वो डिसेबिलिटी एक्सेसिबिलिटी, और हम लोग ये कोशिश करते हैं कि अगर आप एज एन इंडिविजुअल भी हमसे कनेक्ट होना चाहते हैं तो यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम। इसलिए मैंने अपने नंबर और email ID शेयर किया है। आई विल गिव यू माई ब्रेल कार्ड ऑल्सो, आई हैव अ ब्रेल कार्ड, आप वो ले सकते हैं। और कभी भी अगर आप अपनी कोई भी चीज़ें लिखना चाहें, कोई भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, issues, challenges, complaints, please feel free to write to us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please.
Ma'am, I'm Ravi Agarwal from Macromancy. We do a lot of things in the technology space, specifically on safety and security kind of thing. Already India is moving towards like we are enjoying currently demography dividend, but now we are moving toward the older age population, aging population. So we should, do you have any kind of, or already India has that any kind of incubation center at a national level where anyone, either any MSME or any big corporate or any NGO or even any user like this guy or any startup or any student can come out there with their idea or with their prototype, either it can be TRL1 level or TRL2 level, so they can get a more in a wider scale level mentorship, or they can get fund or go to market access or get clinical trials, like Mr. Vishal Gandhi in a previous session said that there are so many innovations, there are so many things in multiple scenarios. DRDO is doing something, CSI are doing, EMS doing something, but they are doing in silos. So is there any kind of centralized place? So you are already in, you are mentioned at 35 years. So how can we that build together, stitch together to make a good uniformity?
I think your question also has your answer, that the convergence and the collaboration should happen. IITs are doing work, but again they are in silos. So IIT, I know IIT Mumbai has done very beautiful product designing. IIT Delhi has done it for person with visual impairment. So that IIT Madras has done it. The point is that the product designing remains at one level. It doesn't come out in commercial scales. Two, that even if it comes out in commercial scales, the rates are very high. You know, they are not affordable. And three, the ministry that looks after is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment for senior citizens, if I am talking about. But the point here is every ministry has to come forward. So if the Department of Science and Technology, I'm not too very sure, I think we should have asked this question to Dr. Agarwal here, that whether she's designing products for senior citizens or not. And if it is there, what are the kind of, next step to it, to startups, to incubation, or is it already into the market for people to use it? So these are some of the questions remains, unanswered. Maybe what we can do is after this conference, maybe we can all write to PhD because they have organized this beautiful conference to talk about and bring about ideas together, and write to them saying that what is their people are doing. If we can have a kind of a, on their websites, in the PhD website itself, we can have a resource pool and put things together. So I have many things which we have been using. Alexa is one that everybody knows, but there are many, many other things. You can use Google. It's just without any cost. You can use Google to say, Google, light jala do, Google, darwaza band kar do. I live alone, and I'll just give you one example. I live with two carers, one come in the morning, another in the evening. There are shifts. And once I'm on the bed, I'm totally without any help. What do? So मैंने अपने सारे दरवाजे, अपने सारी चीज़ें, even my, all my gadgets which I use, my washing machine, my heater, my geyser, everything is on automation. And it saves so much of my, the trauma and the tension that I used to have. And earlier, 3 years back, my mom, who was super senior citizen with a hip surgery, used to stay with me. उनके लिए ज़िंदगी इतनी आसान हो गई थी, but लोगों को पता ही नहीं है. So I think a resource pool, a kind of a resource bank, which PhD can have, or maybe I can talk to the ministry and put it together. और आप लोग अपना उसमें resources डालिए, अपना उसमें material डालिए, and I think people take it from there. Students are looking for ideas, product design students, people in mechanical engineering. They're looking for ideas. There are not enough ideas on board. So your question is very apt, but I don't have 100% answer to that. So can we close it? Yes, sir, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anjali, for sharing your insights, and I'm sure that many of the, some of the queries were resolved also, and at chamber definitely it's not, as I told in the morning, it's not something sort of a conference that we are doing. The objective is to take it forward, and this is in fact the 5th conference on AT we are doing. Normally I think every year we do one conference, and every time there are some synergies, some sort of JVs that come after the conference within a month or 2 months time. In fact, we have called few startups also. We have few industry also who are very keen to be a part of their CSR initiative, wherein they want to do some R&D, particularly for PWDs, and we have given them idea to plunge into AT rather than just distributing prosthesis, just plunge into AT. And now since with the AI, if there is some good integration, maybe something some magic can also happen, because what happens, like CSR fund, definitely it's a very important thing, but R&D is not happening through that fund. So in fact, we every time, like whenever we do programs, we write to them very strongly that at least 5% of the CSR fund should go in the R&D also. So I think that can definitely result in more sort of, I'll say, momentum in terms of actually utilizing the CSR fund. So thank you very much, Dr. Anjali, for sharing your insights, and we look forward to your association in the future also, and we'll come to you with the report of this conference, and probably we'll take your guidance also to improvise it so that we can give a proper white paper to the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment on this subject. Thank you very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for spending your time and being a part of this very valuable conference. Now this is the lunch time. You may join us for networking lunch. Thank you very much indeed.